Kilda here at Marvel Stadium. Should be an absolute cracking game there this evening. One we are going to look forward to bringing to you, listening to, and seeing how it all unfolds tonight. Really interesting. Both teams play well at Marvel Stadium. Let me just bring this in a bit. That's a little bit better. All right, let's just have a little bit of a look at the ins and outs for both teams. For ins for the Western Bulldogs, we've got a big in. Marcus Bontempelli, the champ, comes back in. James Harms goes out, and the sub Cooper Hines. The St Kilda Saints, Ari Schoenmaker goes in. Liam Henry also comes in. Going out is Travalagia and Hasty, and of course Zach Jones is the sub today for the Saints. All right, folks, we are only 30 seconds away from the bounce of the ball, so we are going to get down to the ground, and they'll take us into the opening bounce of what's going to be an exciting game tonight at Marvel Stadium. The Western Bulldogs taking on St Kilda.
Owens and Sharman are the two. They've got to get the job done. Mason Wood has been a bit of a revelation for the Saints as well going forward, but they don't jump off the page like Sam Darcy does and Aaron Norton does. So that's going to be the challenge, I think. But gee, they've got some classy ball winners and users. Hill, Windhager, who'll get a job. Liam Henry back into their side's important. Collard's showing a fair bit as well. So just watching the two teams go out to their positions. Caminiti goes back and he's going down to Sam Darcy. So good luck to that young man. It's going to be a big job. Other end of the ground, Liam Jones goes and picks up Cooper Sharman out of the goal square. Matchups everywhere. Rory Lobb's got to find an opponent. He's been in good intercept form. He's going to Mason Wood.
Went to half-back.
Bontempelli, that's an interesting one for you. So Marcus Bontempelli not in the centre square, starting at effectively centre back.
So the Bonts is back. He starts as a defender as we embark on a new fixture. Easter Sunday night. Dogs and the Saints. Free kick going the way of St Kilda. And Rowan Marshall didn't realise it was for him.
We've already got Darcy's paddock, 30 games into his career. All the Bulldogs forwards were right up on the 50-metre line of that centre bounce. Darcy in the goal square.
The centre players still learning the rules after all this time, as Marshall's kick was well picked off by Bailey Williams, the stabilising force with a wiggle half-back Liberatory. There he is, Bob. Gets his early hands on the footy. Back to Bailey Williams, kicked a great goal last week. And there is Sam Darcy, drops one. And the Saints will be thankful for that. Marshall started it. And the kick out of there from Windhager. Big clump of players on the wing. Burns plays it forward to Higgins, who knew where Wagonine Miller was. Just gliding to the 50 and purposeful, comfortable kick to Mitch Owens, who should be able to convert.
Well, the pack went to the ball, the contest at half forward, and Mitch Owens just said, well, I can't really pack there, so I'll get out the back. And I'm sure whether it's James O'Donnell's opponent or not, but he just darts out the back. Tim English was the one that was trying to provide cover. Just smart. Don't stand there. Don't be an extra in and around the traffic. Find some space in the back half.
8 goals for in his 4 games. He's played his best footy here so far this year, including a bag of 4 against the Tigers. Saints away.
He could start goals last week, like you said, 4 clearances though, so really stuck in the midfield a little bit more, but he's a dangerous forward, we know. It's a dangerous matchup because he's hard. He's not 6'5", Gaz. He's not 5'10" either. He's that in between.
There it is. So Rory Lobb is trying to find the matchup for him. He's an intercept player, Rory Lobb. We know that. He's going to back himself to go to the contest. And Mitch Owens there said, well, okay, either you mark it or not, I'll get into some dangerous space out the back. And you see it again here. So Lobb leaves him. Tim English is left to try and cover for him, but he's gone. Owens runs into space, and when Wagonine Miller gets the footy, it's a pretty good chance it's going to end up in the hands of a teammate. So smart forward work.
Backman Bont didn't last very long.
It lasted about 2 seconds, Hutto.
Trying to get him to touch early.
Bontempelli into the centre square set up. Jack McRae is closest to him. Long-term teammates. Liberatore hunts the footy. Dogs will get it forward. Spooku's down there. West underneath trying to gather. Kept it in dispute. Karmas has hold of it. They have hold of him.
So Jared started forward and James O'Donnell started back, Jared. So that's the obvious switch there. O'Donnell's playing on Mason Wood at the moment.
Now Nick Kennedy, who's made such a good start as a dog. Fraser's held up his end of the bargain and he's got the shot of goal. Dogs away. A goal apiece early.
Fantastic, yeah. Joel Fraser, he's sort of been Mark 2 early in the season with obviously no Bontempelli, but interesting to see what his role will be. Gaz throughout the night with Bontempelli back in that centre square. Fantastic there, great finish. You still expect him to play some good minutes in the midfield there. He's developing along nicely. He's a good size. Just look at this again. So St Kilda, they just hold the outside. They own the outside perimeter there of the stoppage. A really good finish there.
It's a great finish. You expect he and Bont to share the load through the middle, probably. Go from half forward. He's starting inside. He's got Webster as his opponent. Bontempelli's back at the centre square now. So a few positional changes, and we'll find it's water level at once, the next 5 minutes or so.
One goal, 3 and a miss last week, so he's delighted to hit the mark.
Now mixing things up. Richards off the back of the square now for the Bulldogs.
Marshall just got the last hands to that down to McRae, and then a wobbler off the boot. First to track it was Williams, but ultimately it's a St Kilda ball and a high one from Wilson. Didn't go too far. Owens coming right back from where the kick emanated from. A hand pass back to McRae. There was a couple of choices, and Webster, a rare venture into the front half, and maybe he should stick to setting them up because Sharman's marked it, poked it back to the middle, and this man's hot at the moment. Owens for his second.
Yeah, sensational. His work rate's superb early in the piece, and this is going to be a bit of a challenge for Rory Lobb. I'm not saying that that's his man because I think he had Mark Mason Wood there for a moment, but it's a mobile forward setup round here that they've got at the moment, and just Rory Lobb likes to see the game unfold in front of him, and at the moment, whether it's Mason Wood or whether it's this man Owens, he's going to find it really difficult once the ball hits the ground.
As we said, a tough time last week against the likes of Sam Taylor and Jack Buckley. 8 goals for the season coming in, and he's already got 2 on the board. Fast-paced Marvel football. 2 to the Saints, 1 to the Dogs.
The strength of theirs this year, the clearances. So since Jack McRae's come in, guys, they've really improved their clearance in that territory. So they get moved forward. They look really dangerous. Had multiple options here to the left there at Webster. Brad Hill's standing out there on his own. So probably a little bit of a miss kick need to go to him. But Sharman, I love his reaction. Very unselfish. Good football thinking.
Well, you just see both Lobb and Bailey Dale. Look at them push back to the point post here. So that means someone's free in the middle of the ground, and you've got to react quickly like that to find him, and he did. So it's going to be a long night, boys. There's 2 inside 50s for St Kilda for 2 goals, 1 inside 50 for the Dogs for a goal.
Now Libba starting at centre half back. So Bontempelli, Richards and Libba centre half back. So they're obviously rotating through half back the Bulldogs mids.
Ruckman get after it. English to Richards. Dogs on the break. Darcy's the target. Wilkie's the third man in. It leaves Norton underneath. He won't get there initially. And they'll clear the area. The Saints with a long kick out, reaching around Bramble to spoil.
So out that last inside 50, Aaron Norton's got his positioning's got to be such that Wilkie can't come off him and cause the 2-on-1 in the air. So he was too close. Wilkie just left Norton, went straight to the 2-on-1 and got a fist in. They'll try and isolate Caminiti against Darcy.
Boundary throw in. Marshall tapped it down. Garcia onto it, slapped it onto the boot to good effect. Wood on the reach. Was eager, hand pass, and did. McRae into a dead end, slipped it to Garcia, fast hands to Hill, so fast it took him a couple of goes to get hold of it. Marshall's the target, over to Sinclair, he knows his way around goals. The Saints have 3.
We've seen this quite a lot early this season for St Kilda, so Jack Sinclair named as a half-back flanker. Quite often he's up high in the front half. A lot of the time comes out of that stoppage and sneaks forward. So the Bulldogs need to really watch him. His direct opponent needs to watch him in flow. He comes up to that stoppage and creeps forward, and they know he's going to be there as a release.
This is what we're talking about. So you talked about how much room they want to give Darcy, 1 out. So there he is. Just see Callum Wilkie come off. That sets the whole rebound up here from the deep in defence, goes the whole length of the ground. So that starting position for Aaron Norton's got to be far enough away that he says, if I leave you, I'm going to get used. But on that occasion, allows him to get the ball to ground. Ball goes at the other end, 3 inside 50s, 3 goals.
At the peak of his powers, Jack Sinclair set about neither ruckman got a touch on it, so it's a free kick. But it's going the way of the Bulldogs, to the disappointment of the Saints mids, who are already imagining what might be coming their way. Instead, it's long to Norton and Darcy, but not long enough.
That's on the Bulldogs forward, so there's still 100 metres from the play. And other players can't, the teammate can't kick it that far, so that was just too easy for the Saints defenders.
Shoemaker was the man who took the intercept mark back for his second game of the season, as the Saints again able to manipulate possession and control. For now, it's been clean of foot, and that continues to half forward to Mason Wood, rolls onto his favoured left, and Higgins is the hot target, and he takes the mark.
So there's a clear plan, Hutto, and that is we're going to bypass Rory Long. So the ball used before this kick was the most important one of all. Long's down the line.
He's not waiting, Gaz. Maybe he should have.
Yeah, Long was down the line and he said, I'm not going there. So they went short and then went over Rory Long's head. And it should have been their 4th goal from 4 entries.
Good moving the ball, so Kilda.
Two beautiful minds, aren't they, Ross and Bevo?
Yes.
And how they set up for each other. Johannesson was the man on the way out. And Davidson, splendid start to his league career.
No sunnies for Bevo tonight, required.
Kicks on the 45, Liberatore. Sterling stint as the fill-in captain. He kicks for his long-term of Bontempelli, but that's too wide. Sinclair's ball. Saints have won 8 of their past 9 here at Marvel. The Dogs are on a 7-game streak here.
They don't want to go long here. It's
Committed to sitting it up. Need a contest. Wilson was trying. Spoil made by Fraser all the way to the boundary.
That's the kick they don't want. So Long down the line there. They're short. Cooper Sharman's their tallest at the moment, and Mason Wood's the next tallest. So Long down the line doesn't work for the Saints.
Instructions and adjustments being relayed. Manganine Miller is signalling from the bench whatever he was told. Out onto the field of play. Garcia and Liberatore underneath. Burns had a go. Libba around to Richards. Tosses it forward. Norton can't stand his ground. Wilkie made the spoil. Tidy up, Saints have numbers. Stocker, Wilkie. Schoenmaker's been busy early, but he's kicked it straight to Davidson.
So on the slow play, Dale, as we said, dominant last time when they met. That's a potent kick through the middle. Johannesson for his 2nd game this year. Sanders, who's growing in confidence and impact, plays it wide to where it was a pretty safe passage forward. And Williams, we know he's got a boot on him.
It's important by Wilson now to break that play up.
McNeil calls for it in the goal square. Not the likely target. Over the top, Davidson almost dragged it down. The thrills and the spills in the goal square.
Good to Darcy Wilson, so terrific there. He's playing half forward, so good courage to run back and just get the spoil now. I know the Bulldogs got the free kick, but it was enough to stall the play, just to stop their run. So this is really important to get back and create that almost professional free kick.
Sinclair wasn't a huge factor the last time these two teams played, but he's been influential in the opening minutes. Out to Burns. The Dogs muster back to deny the fluency down the line. Stab kick to McRae.
So got to
Not a boo in sight, such as the respect of his old fans for him. Up to Burns, to the 2-on-2. Sharma disrupted the pack. Henry was on, he didn't give.
Wooded Long is the long option right now, which he's not that keen on.
No, that's not a great kick. Windhager the target, it's turned over. Dale, English, O'Donnell to bring it out for the Dogs and give them a look. Norton is alone and unattended. So Wilkie's the only man inside the 50. Norton should be able to bypass him and thump it through for a behind as it rams the post.
Got aggressive on it. The Saints got up really high to try and defend. Once it was out the back, it was he had to have the shot ready. There was nothing else he could have done.
That's right.
This is better for the Bulldogs here. So they can just hold them up, stop the flow of ball that was in that opening frenetic few minutes.
Saints have had it 15 more times than the Dogs. They open up a handy little lead. They move it a little further to the interior this time on the slow play. Cleary comes out, denies Henry. They can get moving again. Williams has been pivotal. He and Dale together. Down the line to Norton and Stocker. A little bit of tunnelling on the minor scale. Norton's found some form in the last couple of weeks. Kick 3, including the opener last week, down towards Darcy, predictably, and the Saints were well set. There's a few moans and groans. There might be some more now. This place ball on the way out. Richards rounds the footy up, but then he cops the same treatment from the St Kilda defenders.
Body work, Caminiti here, working hard on the body of Sam Darcy in the marking contest there.
At the stoppage, McRae, sharp hands. Windhager hacked it to the boundary. Wood arrives and will avert the insufficient intent.
Well, a lot is being said about the return of Marcus Bontempelli, the superstar, but from a coaching perspective of the Saints, they've gone to Ed Richards. So Marcus Windhager, their number one target, has gone to Ed Richards.
Yeah, with good reason too, Dale. Number 1 disposals, 1 contested footy, 1 for score involvements. He's been in unbelievable nick.
Windhager is onto the footy. Manganine Miller delivers the Saints forward. O'Donnell has the sit and the mark.
Now, where will he distribute it? Short and safe to Bramble. Got forward and kicked 1 goal and should have kicked 2 last week. His teammate Davidson pinched it right on the line. They worked the hands, not particularly productively initially. Bramble across to Cleary for his 2nd game for the season. And a short to O'Donnell. Forward last week. Comes to Johannesson. Little pop kicks of a go at the moment for the Dogs. Now the Liberatore handball. Bramble will just chug along all day. Almost had on beat too many. Safety from Johannesson and Liberatore. Set him up for a fall going towards McNeil. Outsized and out hassled by Webster initially, and now they crash in. Try and amp up the pressure. A little soccer kick out of there from Garcia. Heads towards the line. Libber is going to keep it in, and we'll do it all one more time.
Jones's kick's not much chop though, and it is chopped off. Garcia has ball in hand. So Kilda's chance to create.
Sorry, Jared. Good chase by Collard there to get back and just create enough pressure, create the turnover.
Forced long down the line. Jones in the middle of the pack. Sharman hit him. Ball to be one underneath. O'Donnell got crashed into. Windhager cleared the way. Hall out to Henry. He's pulled it to the teeth of goal. English didn't deal with it. Higgins threatening. Has it. He'll kick it. Crafty little devil that he is. Jack Higgins makes the Dogs defenders pay.
So it's all about obviously marks from opposition kicks at the moment, probably both ends of the ground, but more particularly inside St Kilda's forward line. They don't want Lobb intercepting, they don't want O'Donnell intercepting, and they sure as hell don't want Jones. So all it is when you get it forward, you just can't be outmarked. So they're happy with this. That passage of play right there from St Kilda is perfect. And then, caught behind, bring it to ground. Ground ball game serves St Kilda well over the years. Being top 6 for 3 years at ground ball footy. And this is the bread and butter for Jack Higgins. If he's going to have a night, then Wood and Owens and these blokes have just got to get the ball to ground. Can't have O'Donnell and Lobb and Jones peeling off.
Spot on. And that was the problem last week for the Bulldogs, especially in the second half against the Lions. When the ball hit the ground, defensive 50, Lions made them pay. St Kilda have done that tonight so far.
Jack Higgins happy to be home. Carmus comes up to accept it, plays it off to Kennedy. Down towards Darcy again, and Caminiti with a runner.
Started well. Started really well, and that's a great sign. Have the confidence to go and take a mark like that against the best contested arm player in the comp over the back.
Good off Riley West there. It was well read.
Measured kick to Burns. A little bit on the follow through from Kennedy. Found a home wing and half back for the Saints this year, and a consistent contributor down the line. That didn't look so good off the boot, but made a liar of it because it's the captain. Steele. A lot of pointing going on.
Uncontested marks for Kilda at 18 at the minute.
Highest hand up was Marshall. He's got help from Sharman as the pack massed. The back Bramble. Winning it was one thing. Trying to get rid of it is very much another. Piles on top. Garcia was the tackler.
It's really good. 13-6 ground balls, Brownie. So again, they had to go long. They got it to ground. Stop it.
Carmus to compete in the right. Bontempelli had an extra touch. McRae stripped with the ball and the Bont has it. His first kick. He's gone for Darcy, reaching up. Caminiti did enough. Darcy threatens underneath. Webster ran interference. Well gathered. Dolan. Darcy ended up with it one way or another. West is his target. He rises and marks.
Left foot, right foot combination of Darcy there. So beautiful depth in the kick. Had to have some carry on it because Sinclair's coming back with the fly to the footy. West outsized, but the speed at which the ball got there helped him out.
1 goal, 3 last week, Riley West. He's had a productive start to his season.
Not many key forwards can do that. Not many players in the game can do that.
Not these
The
days.
opposite foot, yeah. Well, Pat's a hell of a lot.
West to balance the Dogs out. Bring them back to 11 points.
Much needed, Brownie. Much
Yeah,
needed.
absolutely, yeah, it's good. So, well done too. Look, Caminiti was good on that initial contest up at half-back, but it's such a dangerous weapon, isn't it? You know, Sam Darcy can be good at ground level as well, or on his opposite foot. We've seen this a lot. We saw that night against Collingwood a few weeks ago at the MCG where he was lethal, but you're right, the deft touch to that wasn't luck. He knew exactly where he needed to put it there with Riley West. I told you, 6'10", shouldn't be allowed to do that at that size. It just shows how much he must have practiced it as a youngster. Good finish by West.
What do you make of the move of Karmas going forward and O'Donnell back this week?
Well, I think they're both similar. I thought O'Donnell showed a fair tendency to be able to work forward to the footy. Maybe just wants to have a bit of a look at it again. I don't know the reason for it, Hunter.
Interesting, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Match up at home, 60.
English reaches over. Fraser had a bit of a run up to it. Tracks it. Suddenly finds himself on the 50 and Williams a little closer. They're inside McNeil. A fumble. Fraser again. And he couldn't get out of there, but he didn't lose his head. Here is Karmas trying to get it back to Sanders. Webster the thorn in their side. Bontempelli to Williams. So casually off one hand to West and Karmas, who both flew. West got it. McNeil having more and more influence as a Bulldog. Hill against the line with Davidson. And attack.
Fraser looks impressive, doesn't he? Just week by week. I know Bontempelli's back in, but he'll continue to play midfield minutes. Just he looks so threatening coming out of that centre bounce.
Clearance for the Dogs, 8-5, 5-2 out of the centre. Western Bulldogs way.
Yes, as painful as it was not to have their captain, it has provided opportunities for others in the opening 5 weeks. But now, if you haven't heard, Marcus Bontempelli is back tonight, tracking the footy. Karmas with 2 Saints, Webster and Sinclair. Kennedy. It's come off a boot, and it's on the full.
We'll take that. Some forward pressure, a little bit of luck.
Kennedy. 3 goals won in his 5 games, 27 touches last week. It's been an excellent pickup. And he is getting better and more popular by the week. That is a fine goal on the left boot. And the Bulldogs, who have been on the back foot for much of the opening term, have cut the margin back to 5 with a couple of goals in a row.
Great call, Hunter. It's been the pick-up of the season, arguably. It's been fantastic. Saw him a few weeks ago against Carlton. He cleaned up his home team, his old team. He's just able to make the most.
That's unlucky.
A bit unlucky, isn't it? But he has got a wonderful left foot. We did see that on show a couple of weeks ago, as I said. Degree of difficulty very high there. It's been a great asset to that midfield and forward as well. He can be a goal kicker. He's a good size.
Beautiful finish.
He's a beautiful finish, yeah.
Superb. A little bit of luck. They found one back. They've got some clearance ascendancy at the moment. That's the one area of the game that the Western Bulldogs on top of. Ed Richards, for maybe one of the few times in his career, trying to work out what it's like to be
There was a bad mix-up by the Dogs. They were all over the shop.
on the result, on the back of the tag. He's just had the 2 touches, Richards.
2 in a row for the Dogs. Deficit now 5 points. Darcy's gone into the ruck. Richards was his target. Marshall hand passed it out to Steele. It's pinched almost by Darcy. Makes something of it. Sanders got out of the binds. Doubles back. Searching for a target. Karmas couldn't hang on. Bontempelli busting through. He'll swing it through. No, it hit the posts. They're all ready to go around the stadium. Not
centre to the Dogs. It's starting to tell a bit. Gives you field position, puts pressure on the opposition defence.
Last 3 scores, they're back within 4. Hall, Saints to the wing, but Kennedy got an important hand in. Wilson, Windhager tried to retrieve it as it came out of his hand, realising there was Bulldogs and a plethora of them. Dolan got a handball to Liberatore, waiting on the outside as a good winger does, is Williams. Wasn't sure whether to kick it or handball, played it back instead to Johannesson, and Faulty kicked down the line. And Hall has done well to
Well, it's 11-5 inside 50s to the Dogs hut at the moment, so they've just trapped them in their half of the ground at the minute, and this is what they don't want.
Lobb usually better than that on the intercepts. Marshall tied it up.
Have to say they want Rory Locke marking at centre wing, so all of a sudden the ball's just lived in the Dogs' half. So 5 inside 50s for 4 goals, 1 for St Kilda. They just can't get it back in there.
From the tap, Steele worked it forward, but only as far as Johannesson. Shares it with Liberatore. Had a long look inboard. Davidson hangs on under pressure from Burns.
Yeah, it's a great kick. It's a great kick and it gets on it by really strong hands, but under pressure they get it back in the corridor.
Norton's the target. Just a fraction too high for him, or he led too far underneath. Take your pick. Throw it in.
The match up with Wilkie. It's been a good battle all night. Cal Wilkie, one of the premier defenders in the comp, going against Norton. He had a great start last week after a pretty ordinary couple of weeks.
How many times did Ross shuffle the same piece of paper there?
Marshall stripped of the footing. So it's live for the Dogs. Williams, Sanders, Johannesson. Tossed it up to give them a look. Darcy on the reach. Caminiti got a fist in. Ball to be one underneath. Oh, Darcy's hurt. He's grabbing at his left knee. Wood, hand passed a bit aimlessly. Bramble taken to ground by Sinclair. Darcy's trying to regain his footing.
He was in a real pain, Jared. Real pain.
He flew over Jack Sinclair there. He was standing in the hole in front of him. So he's okay.
Yep, the umpires have just halted play for a moment while we all hold our breath on this.
This is a massive, well, let's hope for the best here, but just the way he grabbed it, Jared, we're not doctors, of course. So we just hope everything's okay there.
All-standing comparison has been made so often, you just hope to God that's not it.
It's a hyperextension then when he lands. Wow, left knee. Fingers crossed. What about the jump at it from both he and Caminiti? So honest in the air.
So as he just covers those last few metres, the kick goes in towards full forward. Caminiti got the handball away. Davidson flashing through. Cleary venturing forward as a defender.
We'll keep a close watch on that. Let's hope he's okay. He has walked off. But, geez, they're coming down hard in numbers, the Bulldogs, aren't they? Let's get into their front half. Looking really dangerous, coming down in waves.
Brownie, they're 13-5 inside 50. So the first 5 inside 50s resulted in 4 goals, 1. They haven't been back. The Saints in their 450 again.
Incredible, 89% in the last 10 minutes forward half for the Bulldogs.
So this is great credit to the Western Bulldogs for trapping them in their half of the ground.
It's on the back of clearance though, so St Kilda's mids need to lift. They need to start to get ball in hand. Jack McRae being lauded for his role coming across. Struggling to get going. He's on the bench at the moment, just 4 disposals.
Searching, but that's just too far for Shoemaker.
So it's been really impressive, really impressive. It's a game style thing that they've been able to just lock it in. Now this is the biggest story in footy right now, maybe for the year, given where he sits in the competition, Sam Darcy. So
there's Cooper Hines, Gaz, so he looks like he's getting ready, as you would as a precaution. But
yeah, and we don't want to be absolutely dramatic, but this is a generational talent, and every one of those Western Bulldogs players and supporters, and probably footy lovers in general, St Kilda fans included, to be just hoping for the best for that young man. So I guess that's all we can do. Is we don't need to speculate too much more. It's in the lap of the injury gods.
English slapped it to good effect. West Ham pass to poor effect. Bramble retrieves. Now passes to Williams. English will get another go. It's going to give them a look up near the 50. Liberatore, Wanganeen Miller had the sit, dropped the mark that he should have taken. Underneath they come. Wanganeen Miller has it. Stocker is hot. Good step to get out of a bite. And send the Saints on their way to the far side for Wood.
It was a good turn from Stocker. Wood, though, just has to wait until something materialises ahead to his liking.
Well, St Kilda are under so much pressure. They've had to load up and get their numbers back in the defensive half. So when they do bring the ball forward, they've got no one to kick to.
This guy works hard up and down that wing from half forward Hall. Depth on the kick to Owens, who was dynamic early. Gets toppled over, and the Dogs had a bit of time. Although O'Donnell, too cute with the kick, barely covered and required. It's almost like it was paid because it was a crafty kick, and just doesn't seem all that impressed.
Richards up to 5 disposals now, getting tagged by Windhager.
Good angled kick to Bramble, who himself has had plenty of the footy. Number 7 to half forward. Caminetti takes care of business in front of Norton.
So they've got to make a few adjustments too, I guess, in the way they go forward, and their tendency to pull the trigger on long balls inside 50 now. Maybe they've got to be a little bit more discerning. That's gone about 9 metres.
Normally they're right onto it in the back 52, but
Caminiti's rolled over onto Norton. Wilkie goes to Booker Karmas, which frees him up perhaps to be a bit more of an interceptor.
Sanders impressive again as he found the footy and eluded the tacklers. Frustration for the Bolter-Towns.
The Dogs getting extra numbers around the ball, so Wanganeen and Miller are dropping back as the spare. Just seeing there coming into picture. And maybe the reason why the clearance they've been demolished in clearance, haven't they? Especially the last 15 minutes, 12-5 for the quarter.
It looks like more serious warming up from Hines. As Saints get it back to the wing, Hines again, outnumbered. Lob goes to ground, there's Hall, trying to flick it to Wood. He just had to handball in hope more than anything. And again it's Williams and Kennedy and Bramble and Bontempelli as the volume starts to rise among the Dogs fans. Back through the middle, O'Donnell, that time it was interfered with. Wanganeen Malira puts a big torpy on. The Dogs have the first look and clear his hands. We're safe.
That's the frustration of the game, Hunter. You don't see Wanganeen Miller do that, but that's because they haven't been able to get through. So he just in the end said, this has been too hard, I want to just get it out of our zone, and that doesn't suit. The way they want to play is really difficult, St Kilda.
Miguel Santo.
Yeah, sad news from a Dogs perspective. We have our fingers crossed that Sam Darcy's season isn't over, but he has been subbed out. Cooper Hines will make his way onto the ground for his second career game. So he's just warming up in front of me now, but fingers crossed for Darcy.
It's certainly not like for like, but the Dogs build to get a shot at goal through Tim English.
Yeah, there's crossover there. English is able to get free. Coming in frustrated with his teammates.
Hasn't kicked a goal yet this season. Tim English is ranked 10th of Ruckman thus far. Has traditionally been an excellent set shot. Tim English puts it on its way. It's not quite going to do the business. Davidson kept it in play momentarily, but only momentarily. Shuffled through to make it a 2-point game.
So you wonder structurally whether they will maybe look at Lob at some stage pushing forward. Here is Sam Darcy, which is the story of the night, the weekend so far. Being subbed out after a hyperextension of that left knee. Next 24 hours, massive. This is a labour-intensive style of footy that the Saints play. That is, we don't want to go long. We want to build up. Use our kickers. This bloke being one of them, and work our way through. But the Western Bulldogs, after being blitzed early, have reacted really strongly. Much more one-on-one.
Saints just trying to get to quarter time. It feels like to recalibrate. Positive side is they lead by 2. And certainly their opponent has been much weakened. Seem to have an inclination to really go forward just at the moment. Close enough to the bench to have a message as to whether to have a crack or not. Stocker goes down the line. They'll need a mark and still drop by English.
Well, every time they do go, unfortunately, English and Long have dropped easy marks, but basically uncontested on long balls down the line. So it'll be interesting to see if there's any adjustment made at quarter time.
Luke Beveridge making some adjustments of his own as the clock counts down to signal quarter time at Marvel Stadium. Easter Sunday night, the Saints got away to the fast start. Led by 17 at one stage. The Dogs hit back. St Kilda led by 2, but the big storyline in this match where Marcus Bontempelli has returned, the next future star of the Bulldogs, Sam Darcy, already subbed off with a knee injury. Our fingers, like everyone in the footy world, are crossed. loss for young Sam. This match continues though, and it's St Kilda by 2.
All right, folks, it is quarter time. Quarter time here. It's the Saints 4-1-25 leading the Bulldogs 3-5-23. Tell you what, this is a fast-paced game. That's right, it is fast and furious. Oh, the Saints came out absolutely running early on. And, of course, halfway through that first quarter, it was all the Dogs, but they couldn't put the Majors on the board, locking it down there forward for such a long time. So the Saints actually held on well to go into the quarter-time break, 2 points up. Of course, Darcy, Sam Darcy from the Dogs, looks like he is out. He is out. He's been subbed off. He landed awkwardly, hyperextended his knee. Let's just hope it's not the season ending for him. We'll probably hear later on that. We'll hear a bit more on that later, I'd imagine, or in the coming days ahead, but not good news for the Bulldogs. My gosh, I tell you what, he is a star for the Bulldogs, and I think he is unreplaceable for what he does. My gosh. Just want to say g'day to everyone who's coming in. Blightwater supporter, how you going? Squire, Tino Ben, the manager's in the house. Ryan A. Grovery, 1, how you doing? Bad boy, big bad boy. There we go, say that 10 times quick. How you going? No, Darcy, hurts their chance. Tell you what, it hurts their chances big time. Darcy is a match winner. He is a match winner. Even with the Bontempelli, the Bont coming back, I think Darcy is definitely the Bulldogs' most important player for them. He can just be anywhere and just cause damage. He is so hard to stop. So hard to stop as Sam Darcy. All right, let's just have a little bit of a look at the goal scorers so far. Mitchy Owens for St Kilda, the only multiple with 2. Sinclair and Higgins singles, and of course the Doggies, Riley West, Matthew Kennedy, Fraser singles for the Bulldogs. It's a handful. B3 is easier. B3, I tell you what, that's a good idea. B3. So now all B3. Hey, B3, let's have a look at the disposals. It's only one multiple goal disposal getter out on the ground, you know that? And that's Bailey Williams from the Doggies. There we go. He's at 11. 5 kicks, 6 handballs. It's going all right. Top 4, all Bulldogs players. Tom Liberatore. I'll tell you what, Tom Liberatore, he's got to be polling a few votes this year in the Brownlow. Every game he's played has been pretty good. He's had 9 so far up until quarter time. Jason Johannesson, 9, as well as Lockie Ramble, 9. Wanganeen Miller for the Saints, and Maxi Hall and Jack McRae top the Saints with 7. Let's just roll down a little bit. Jackie Sinclair was 6 with a goal, as we said. The Bont started okay. I'm sure he's going to work back into the game nicely. He's had 6, 2 kicks, 4 handballs. He's had a tackle clearance and a point. Beautiful left foot snap, but just took the post. He nearly got a major in the opening quarter there. Tim English with 5 there. Who else we got there? We can have a little bit of a look at. Jack Steele for the Saints on 4. Riley West on 3 for the Dogs. Let's just roll down there quick. Darcy Wilson 2. Yeah, let's have a little go back to the commentators, and they might give us a bit more news.
And being the focal point as the Dogs were going forward, controlling the second part of that first quarter. This was the incident, the 24-minute mark. So he goes up in that marking contest and then hyperextends, or what looks like a hyperextension of that left knee. We know how important he has been for this Western Bulldogs team the early start of this year. We know what this guy is capable of. This is going to have a huge ramification for this game. And then we have our fingers crossed about exactly how long Sam Darcy could be out of the game for, Hutto.
Well, that's all we can do right now is keep our fingers crossed. And as we said through the course of that first quarter, he's arguably the biggest name for footy going through, and they've got to make the adjustment. This is a labour-intensive style of footy that St Kilda have put in place early, and it worked, Brownie, when they were able to go really quick. And clearly, they weren't going to go long to Rory Long, and his intercept marking was right on the agenda. So the way they built this up was perfect. So very patient, found someone in between, don't go long down the line here, find someone in between again, get Rory Lobb caught between the bloke with the footy and where you want to go to, and this is the kick. That one there then allows them to go over the head of Rory Lobb, and early on in the game they were 5 inside 50s for 4 goals won. The adjustment from this side, the Western Bulldogs, to lock them in a half has been superb.
Yeah, it's been very good, Gaz. And look, clearance dominance territory. They're on the back foot, so Kilda, their mids need to get to work. They need to live so good. Look at them. Clearance differential this year has been very strong. It's been a positive for their game. So Jack McRae needs to get rolling. Jack Steele needs to get rolling. Windhager, we know, is tagging in there with Ed Richards. But those boys need to start winning clearances. McRae's got the 3. A few blokes need to jump on alongside him.
I thought he responded pretty well to, not to you, but you mentioned it and then he got to work a bit.
Yeah, late in that quarter. They need territory though, don't they? They can't be on the back foot the whole way, even without seeing Darcy there.
So what adjustments do they make here? So Norton stays down, Bontempelli's going inside forward 50 right now, so you suspect him off limited preparation, you know, his first game for the year, that maybe he can spend some more time out of the goal square, and this is the adjustment right now. So Sinclair, Cal Wilkie goes to Bontempelli.
Norton has kicked 13 in his past 3 against the Saints. So he's just dicing with his form at the moment. Norton, a lot falls to him. Dogs the last 5 scores of that opening term, 2 goals, 3 to trail by 2 points. As we enter the second term here at Marvel, Ruckman kept each other away from it. Someone will pay the price. Marshall was at fault. English missed the spread of Dale, so it goes the other way. Fraser with footy in hand. Saints have scrambled numbers back. Fraser took what was on offer. His kick for Norton.
Oh, yes, that's the one. That's when he's at his best, Jared. Great confidence. Saw that from a long way out. When he runs in from the side is when he's at his best. Notice where he started, 40 metres out from goal, and he circles back around. Instead of being the deepest player where he has to run and jump it in a straight line. Look at that, great footwork, and that's what's been off the last few weeks for him, I feel. When he gets a bit clunky with his footwork, Guz, that was fantastic.
And having Bontempelli down there helps as well. Like, if you can't replace Sam Darcy...
It all falls to Aaron Norton now. Oh, he does have that in his game too. 3rd time the Dogs have hit the post. That'll be a sapper missing from there.
Well, he's just got to block that out and focus on the mark. And Bontempelli down there means he's going to get still one-on-one looks.
Brad Hill, deep in the defensive pocket, out to the wing. Mary Bundle or Liberatore, blind handball, so it turned out. Windhager, Marshall set up, English maybe a little overexcited, didn't complete the tackle properly. Liberatore goes to work. Kennedy, awkward bounce. Fraser batters it away. Bontempelli rises, kicks deep. Here he comes again, Norton. That was a little easier.
Yeah, what's going on inside he's between his ears right now would be fascinating, but this is the Bulldogs. This has been the Bulldogs from about the 10-minute mark of the first quarter. Win the ball back in your half and pump it back inside 50. It's 17-7. And don't forget, those five of those 7 came in the first 10 minutes or 5 minutes. This is massive a kick here for Norton.
3 marks. And on his 3rd attempt, he has the goal. The Bulldogs have the lead.
It's amazing as a key forward or any forward when that happens, when you get a chance to redeem yourself straight away. It's such a range of emotions because you're relieved, but then you look back up at the big sticks and you go, no, I've got to kick it still. So he would have been nervous, but you know what he did? He got back straight away and kicked the goal. I like his positioning here. I like how he just can come in from the side. I think at the moment, the last few weeks when he's lined himself up in line with the ball too much, I feel that's not playing into his strengths. When he can come from the side and launch himself with the ball, obviously this one's a little bit of a different situation, but I feel like his starting points are better today, guys.
9 of the last 10 scores gone in favour of the Western Bulldogs. St Kilda just got to try and find a way through here. Wanganeen, Miller, Sinclair, those boys have got to get their hands on the ball.
First time the Dogs have led. Steele had first access, didn't turn it into anything. Bontempelli and Richards combined. Straight into Windhager. High. Richards with his free kick. Eager to go and give them a look. Norton's coming from a long way back. Didn't get the lead. Kennedy underneath. Liberatore mown down by McRae. All the shared heritage between those two. Saints claim the advantage. Out to Hill. Who'll take the yards on the outer wing. Owens slides into mark.
I think they'll like to be the midfield coach at the moment, guys. Was St Kilda. Ross Lyon to be death staring.
Well, this is the problem, though. On a quick play, on a quick rebound, you get held up because you've got nothing ahead of the footy. When they're at their best here, well, at least now they get in the hands of the right man.
So he wants to take off and create, swinging in Miller up. And create he does with a burst of speed. Up to Wilson, should get it back. Does, but through the pressure by the time it arrived. They mucked it up momentarily. Webster keeps the flow going. McRae carves out the kick low down. Half-volleyed was Woods. Johannesson, Davidson has up the line. Hines the sub. Carlos has got loose. Now Kennedy's on the move. Dale has a look what's on inside 50. Short for Norton. No, it rebound to Dale. He'll get a second go. Sanders set himself up. Scrambling ball. Who can get in and after it? Wilson commits himself in defence. Kennedy stripped him of it. Sanders to McNeil. And the Dogs got a kicker. Richards trying to forge his way clear. Bontempelli. He lets fly. And right there is the return of the boat.
Have to listen to this. Just have a listen. It's sensational when a superstar is not there and then comes back. There's a great sense of anticipation, not just for the fans, but for us to come along and see him in action and to kick that goal in the manner that they have. Like it was hard work again, but they've built this on hard work. Kick the ball back. I love what Wanganeen Miller did. He did exactly what he had to do. It got messy in the end, but this side just won it back again and drove it back inside. The champ did what the champ does.
How many numbers St Kilda, the Western Bulldogs had just out the back there? That's how many released targets. Bontempelli was one of them, about 3. St Kilda, time to leave for their midfielders. Darcy's in there, Windhager, Jack McRae. They need to get a centre bounce. 8-2 in favour of the Bulldogs out of the centre square.
32 goals last year, Marcus Bontempelli, still adding to his game as his career comes to its end. Quick kick forward, it's still away. A number of years away, hopefully. It didn't quite come out right as Wilson's kick goes to the right-hand side of the post.
See if they can give their defence a spell now too, Hutto. 18-9 inside 50s. They just got to try and lock this in their half for a while. Give everyone a bit of a rest in the back half. Try and build some pressure from the front half of the game.
It's not spell too.
There's the pensioner. He's onto it. Clears for Bramble. Lob runs ahead of the ball. Bramble takes his time. And ushered on. McNeil has a fly. Dropped the mark on the way down. Fraser paddled to the advantage of Norton. Clever release for Nolan. Bouncing into space. McNeil riding shotgun. Has a look into the pocket. Williams is his target. He'll play on and see if he can craft the goal. Gives it off to West and makes a certainty of it. The Dogs are rampant.
That didn't last long, Brownie. They finally got a centre bounce. Finally got it inside 50. Kicked the point. You thought, right, what can they do here? Can they be a defensive side that keeps it in their half? It went one end of the ground in a blink of an eye. And what's happened with Sam Darcy off the ground is all of a sudden this unpredictability comes into play. So that's the reaction you want. Here we see Norton kick a goal. Now you see Williams get on the end of it. West hit the scoreboard twice. So you've got to share the load when the superstar goes off. But the Saints have got issues everywhere. They've got issues from clearance. They've got issues from trying to keep the ball in the back half. And they've got issues on the scoreboard now.
Yeah, that makes 5 in a row.
Impressive. Hard work. It's just really blue-collar stuff here.
2 for West. It's out to 16. Where's the response coming from? Windhager and Bontempelli. And the ball prevails to Liberatore. Out wide for West again. Can he hunt a third? No, Webster gets the favour of the ball. And fashions as if he wanted to keep it in. Quite sure why. It's over now.
Yeah, just English get a good go for it out of those centre bounce hit out. So even the one where St Kilda got the goal previously. He smashed it to centre forward again. He got a forward tap, so getting great momentum there.
I tell you what, if the Bont keeps rolling like that, Ed Richards is going to be the happiest man on the ground because Windhager will roll over onto him.
English pats it down. Kennedy applies the tackle. Marshall knocks it out. Bontempelli again. Fraser. Norton's got a run up. He just came forward a little too far that time. Still the Dogs a chance to it. Young Hines and McNeil fought over who was going to protect and who was going to go for the footy. Dolan tries his luck.
You look energized, Norton. Now Darcy's gone off the ground.
Well, it can happen too, though, can't it? I mean, he should be doing this, shouldn't he?
Yeah.
He should say, right, now it is me. Everybody's going to come through me more. Step up.
McRae, Collard, exactly where Wilson was. That's better. They get out of there, Windhager again, just hoping more than anything because the Bulldogs have all the bases covered, it seems. Jones' kick finds Brown.
It is something of a masterclass strategically and in execution at the moment. Johannesson in the English direction, couldn't get a run at it. Marshall held his ground. Norton sticks the tackle and forces the ball up.
Again, they force it inside 50, 23-8. It's a territory demolition.
Marshall out the side. McRae decides to keep it in and take what's on offer. Lob protected the way and Cleary's able to win it right back.
Set up behind the ball beautifully now, the Western Bulldogs, just with so much territory there. The defenders are fresh.
It's a challenge for Ross Lyon and his coaching team, isn't it? They come with a plan. The plan worked spectacularly early, and now they're...
Norton's on the move and he's in the channel. Should have hung onto the mark. Dolan underneath. Fraser hit by all the pressure.
Oh, Jared, you've got your eyes on Norton beautifully. Cut me off any time. He should have taken that mark. 100% should take that mark.
Liberatore just saw him move and anticipated it all perfectly. Kennedy has another look deep. West is going to go with the fly brilliantly. Almost. Ball got loose. Stock up with a decision to make. Didn't trust that he could go through. Hill and Garcia on the way out. Straight turnover. Dogs come again. Bramble.
Away go back. Bramble targets Bontempelli.
They've exited 29 times, St Kilda. So let's have a think about this. 29 times they've been able to get it inside their 456. So 23 times the Western Bulldogs have chopped them off and they're coming back the other way. Inside 50 count is now 25-8. And this man is just starting to warm up.
Well, he can just about do it all. We have missed you, Marcus. This is a domination of the Dogs. 2 for the Bonds. And big trouble for St Kilda.
Well, they're doing this. This is a man that can step into any void, and the void that's been left for now by Sam Darcy is enormous. So these are scenes down the rooms with his father, the former captain of the Western Bulldogs, Luke, and Beck, his mum.
He went through it twice, Luke. 2005 in the season and then on the path back.
It's a really emotional family there. That is, that's footy. That's more than just a game here. This is a family that's been affected by what seems to be a really serious injury.
Yeah, the emotion tells you.
Yeah, so that's Mum Beck there and Dad Luke, who's well known to all of us, who's been through it, as you say, Jared, a couple of times. So that's pretty telling.
Now 6 in a row for the Dogs. Fraser and Richards will give them a look at another entry. Norton. He's popping up in all the right places. He might just muscle his way back into form here.
He could have 5, couldn't he, really?
Yeah, he's been fantastic. So he's on the end of the ball. He's getting himself in a really good position. I think his starting point's been really up. This is an absolute clearance smashing. So now, Bulldogs have got 5 players with multiple clearances. So Bontempelli's had 4. The rest of them, so they're batting quite deep now. You think Fraser's been able to stay in there. Kennedy's been a good pick-up. Can he keep this?
It's all a test of nerve, and Aaron Norton is getting closer all the time. 2 goals and 2 posters, and the determination is written all over his face. That's 7 in a row.
Yeah, I think your call's great, Jared. He looks to have said, okay, it's on me here, and I accept the responsibility that's come my way. Now, he's dropped the soda, he's missed an easy one, but he's kept presenting. And the more he presents, the more looks he's going to get. And this might be the game that helps him turn it around. He's been in frustrating form, a little bit hot and cold, obviously. But he's playing on an All-Australian defender here, and he's getting really good looks. But as Brownie points out, he's getting really good supply too. Centre bounce clearance has just been a slaughter. 10-3 in favour of the Dogs.
That's great positioning though. So when you're running a hot hand, put yourself 25 metres out from goal, directly in front. Put yourself in the hot spot, put the pressure on your direct opponent. Even though it's Wilkie, you know the ball's going to go through a hot hand.
As passionate as you've seen, he plays his 150th next week. And the footy might be headed his way again, the Dogs.
Well, Hutto, there's a small change by Ross Lyon. Asai Wanganeen Malira has gone into the centre square bounce for the first time today. They've also got Liam Henry, first game back. He's just had the one disposal. Might be a few options just to mix up that midfield group.
We're about to say, Dal, they've got to try something. You just can't let this roll along because it's getting out of control.
Wanganeen Miller only been in the centre square 3 times this year before this game. Owen Zirkson Ruckwer against Karmas. Liberatore wants to keep the flow going out of the middle if he can.
And by virtue of their great start, I mean, it's 26 points, which is not the end of the world, or 28, is it?
Yeah.
But they've just been given up 7 goals in a row. That's the issue.
They stripped of it again. Another incoming ball from Davidson. Norton against 2. Wilkie has a little win. A minor victory.
St Kilda put more and more numbers around the stoppage there. They still get beaten. So they've got so many numbers behind and out the perimeter. The Western Bulldogs, they get free access.
Stocker for Collard. Nice little leap, didn't finish it. Would have been a handy mark, because at least then they would have been able to have some sort of forward movement. As it is, it's been there, as you can see by the disparity on the inside 50s for the term, and even Hill, with his skills, couldn't find a clear passage next to that man. Bart and his mates on the arm. As Liver puts a great smother on. And even Ross Lyon, with all his tactical acumen, he's searching through those binoculars for an answer.
Trying to get some speed in there. Like you said, Wanganeen Miller and Henry in there.
Karmas removed Owens, couldn't create the play.
The trouble is, if you can't win the first possession and clearance, then you can't set someone out free into space.
Owens won't escape the clutches initially, but the contact ended up high.
So how much energy have they got? Can they create something?
So there's Sam Darcy walking back from the rooms to take up a vantage point. As we all wait and wonder. Lord moved forward by Woods. Higgins, neat touch. Woods hand pass batted down. Brilliantly done by Richards. And it's the Dogs who try to link it up, although Lord's hand pass wasn't much chop. Hill gets a fresh look. Slice the ball into the middle. Davidson's got the sit on Windhager. And he releases the Dogs instantaneously. Sanders and Dolan and low down for McNeil.
She's there. It's 4-on-1 through the centre of the ground. Just too hard for the St Kilda.
He's exasperated.
Yeah, he was. He had no hope there. They split up really well, the Western Bulldogs forwards. McNeil led back. Norton went back towards the goal square. It's good by Davidson too to identify. He had 3 numbers in the inside, got it to Dolan.
McNeil has routinely hit the scoreboard goals in every game. Launches from 49. Again, it's a poster. That's 4 times into the woodwork. So their 4 misses off the boot have been posters, with 3 rush behinds in their 8-7.
We're 15 minutes into this second quarter. St Kilda haven't had a single chain that started in their forward half. Not one chain has started in the forward half of the ground in this quarter.
Just one behind for their lone entry. And again, it's disrupted play on the way out. Webster is mobbed. That phone is getting a workout. Let's hope it's well secured by the technicians. English reaches over. Wanganeen Miller just popped it out. It's gone the Bulldogs' way again. Bontempelli to Fraser to Davidson to Bramble. Norton. We all wait. Almost hit the roof. There's jumpers everywhere. Wilkie. Good hands. Thrusting it out from Burns initially to Collard. A bit snookered was Hill. And in the end, the kick has just gone to Bont number 2, Fraser. Back through the middle to Dale.
The Dogs are sensitive, Hutto. Yeah, they're like really smelling the blood in the water here. They're pushing up hard. They're pressuring them.
Norton's coming to the footy. Robertson coming off the wing, but the crumbs go. She'll make a collar. As soon as he got the footy, he was in the line of sight of Cleary.
And what they've got to be a bit, maybe a bit more discerning now is when they go back in. So it's all going to the same spot at the moment. And Norton's reasonably hot, but it's got to be a bit maybe wide the vision a bit more.
Saints have committed all their numbers to defending. 7 goals in a row flowing against them. English and Marshall ready themselves. McRae, sharp hands. Wilson just blasts it into midfield and hopes that it might turn out for the best. The charge is on from varying directions. O'Donnell held his ground and was held. Woods just took hold of the jumper.
When it does get in the half, they just win the one-on-one. Jared, the Dogs. It's been really impressive how they responded to that first 10 minutes.
Kennedy flares. Jones.
Probably St Kilda now bringing up so many numbers around the ball, guys, that when they do get it forward, Bulldogs got outnumbered by 2 and 3 players.
Bramble for Dale.
So let's see how they can work some numbers forward to the ball now.
Kennedy the target. Saints can do little about it. Kennedy's thinking goal square. Davidson coming back English. Couldn't hang on. He's still got the play though. Around to Fraser. Dolan overwhelmed by Webster, who will win holding the ball. Now the Saints are going to claim the advantage here. McRae put it into the path of steel. Will it work? Henry's his man. Couldn't get it out the front away from the big defenders. Couldn't. Toppled over. And once you go to ground, you're out.
Boys are men at the moment.
As a result, there's plenty of dogs on in the middle. Sanders paid the ball.
Every extra players they seem like they got in the middle.
Yeah.
The Bulldogs seem to have an extra 3 or 4 players through the corridor.
Williams still out, and we know how big he can boom it.
Don't underestimate the Liam Jones trace down on Liam Henry. There's one.
Had to be a handball by Jack Steele. Just put Henry under pressure.
30-point margin and growing. Hill races across the field. He sends Steele into some space. Hand passes on over the top to Marshall. McRae gets motoring. This surely goes inside 50, and Sharman comes up to meet it.
Well, finally, they get some reward. Probably the last 3 minutes is that for the first time they've been able to get through and had some good looks. Now, they lost 3 one-on-ones in a row forward to the ball. So finally they've been able to find Sharman into some space who can take some time and let everyone take a bit of a deep breath. This second quarter's been absolutely one-way traffic. 17-2 inside 50s for the quarter, if you don't mind.
Cooper Sharman, 3 goals last week against the Giants. How much do you reckon sits on this kick? Sharman gives it all he's got. He's never online. It's just a minor. They're down by 29.
So they've taken 23-8 uncontested marks for the quarter of the Western Bulldogs. So that's the style of game that St Kilda came into at the front of mind.
On 15 for Sanders for the Bramble kick, but he tried to make do, instead butchered the kick. It's a replay here for Sharman.
Well, Brownie, if he's gonna miss this kick at goal, if he doesn't miss to the left or kick the goal, then the forward coach will give his backside a belting. You just don't miss to the same spot, is what I'm saying. You've made a mistake to the right. If you're going to make any mistake, make it to the left.
This one early last week and recovered. Kick 3 in the end. It's a handy forwards. Needs to do a lot.
Yeah, it's an ugly kick, but a better kick is more on line.
It's getting there.
Yeah, was getting there.
Dogs neatly double the Saints score.
28 points, a goal or 2 here before half-time. Just looks more respectable. They've been slaughtered in their second quarter. Damage hasn't been what it might be.
Sanders got under the kick. Sinclair the spoil. It sits in. Gave Collard a chance to create. No, it went out before he worked the hand pass over his shoulder.
At least they've stemmed the bleeding.
Well, 17-2 inside 50s and 5 goals to none. So that is about as far as you can let it go to say that you're still, half a chance. I mean, that could be a 10 goal to none scoreline.
Marshall and English down to the front. Kennedy doing the bullocking.
Well, Marshall needs to be the one that lifts his St Kilda teammates. One of their leaders there. I think English is beating him today.
Garcia kicked it straight into Windhager. Still a chance to gather and create it. Got through Bramble, so the opportunity is still there momentarily. Not anymore.
I feel like Marshall can get St Kilda back into the game with his physicality. He's known for that. He's a terrific player. Just needs to be physical against a skinnier opponent. Plenty of messages going around that St Kilda bench. Ross Lyon will have to go deep into his bag of tricks. Gaz, turn this around.
But Wangan and Miller are running with Bontempelli at the minute, so there's one interesting move. Not too well.
Over the boards. He flares to the far side for Williams, and it's a perfectly weighted ball. Johannisen was on the go by. Didn't get it initially. Will now had to wait a while. Wilson cuts the angles. Johannisen brought back inboard. Bramble is there for him. Eyes were initially to centre field, and he'll keep his powder dry to lob. Johannisen's going to have to go. Lob needs to lend a hand, having put him into a bind. Wilson will get there for the Saints, but can't create. So Williams sees it over the boundary.
I always think the players are the best judge if you can get a microphone out there now. Probably for the first time since the opening 6 or 7 minutes, there's a little bit of pressure coming onto the Western Bulldogs from St Kilda.
4 minutes and 19 seconds for the Saints to have something to show for this quarter. English to Kennedy, and again they dominate around the football. Bontempelli's entry was a rushed one, difficult for Carlos. Just a grasp of the jumper on Kennedy. Back to Wilkie. Still as far away from goal as could possibly be. Sure, they can drop the mark. The umpire already paid it to him. Webster.
So you can see how hard the Dogs are working here. Closing off any exit. No, there's no availability through the middle of the ground. See how hard they can work to change direction here.
See how they scored early, St Kilda. Early in the first quarter, they built up through uncontested marks. They had a very high number, and they were able to transition the ball from one end of the ground to the other through this.
Short to a contest, and there's just a slight error helped by push there, so Windhager gets a reprieve. He plays it back again to a man that's already closely marked by Dolan, so...
Yeah, well, the Dogs set up hard on the early transition, Hutto, so they would do well to find an outlet here.
There's nothing really much for him other than Webster, and there's elements of serious risk involved in that, so Wilson, a fumble, and the Dogs are pouncing again. Bontempelli, not his best handball to Williams, batters it back to the returning skipper who gets crushed and taken high.
It's good play made by the Bulldogs. Good pressure all around the ball out now. Up at St Kilda again. Just feel like that's happened so much throughout the day. They've run clearance, Gaz, but then contest to contest, there's been more Bulldogs jumpers there.
Orton's on the bench, so Davidson and West taking it upon themselves to be the target. Rushed out of there, Caminiti. Well contained by McRae, but not well enough. His old mate, Bailey Williams.
34-9. It's one of the biggest territory smashings we've seen in half football this year.
Considering they kicked 4 goals to 1 and led by 17 points, it's astonishing turnaround.
Richards fed perfectly. Karmas with a leap in the middle. Ball momentarily loose. West keeps it in dispute, but gave up the free kick to do so. Shoemaker given the ball cleanly. Umpire was satisfied it wasn't in the efforts to delay. Shoemaker played the opening round and had to wait for a second chance. English had good control of the air, brought it to ground. Higgins and Marshall spirals it forward, and the inventiveness might work. Wangan Miller just couldn't gather at the first, but still has time. Really puts his efforts into the charge. 2 bounces, then pulls it inboard. Didn't find Higgins. Dogs swarm around it. Jones and lob straight back to Wilson. Repeat entry coming. How will he use it?
Bulldogs players got back quickly there. Well done to block up the defensive 50. St Kilda on the charge.
It's a kick and hope. Get after it. Leaper was Owens in the middle, had plenty of aerial contests. Sinclair and Higgins had tried. Higgins got dispossessed. Bramble and Cleary and Jones just searching for the outlet. Kegel was risky. English is going to do something about it. He can't. Sinclair swoops, swings and leaves it and out short. Jones on the end. Oh, it's touched. So wave to play on now ball.
It feels like this is weighing heavily on some of the Kilda players.
Look at the feedback.
It was touched, so.
So Sinclair had a couple of players to handball to, but he took the shot. Find a way. Yeah, clean go at goal and connect. Could it be Collard? No. Bulldogs fans loving each and every endeavour. High ball from Marshall. He drops it. Right by Hines. Another dog down is Carmus. But they control the footy. That's what matters for the moment. A Bontempelli to the outside to Williams. He has to wait. Needed some help. Found it in Joe Hammerson. They've worked their way right across the ground. Carmus is back on his feet. There's 20 seconds remaining. What has been a stellar second quarter for the Western Bulldogs.
Outstanding. Kennedy sums up the Bulldogs' application of the contest. Deep in defensive 50, then they clear it out. They've been outstanding all day.
And the siren sounds to signal half-time. The second quarter saw the Bulldogs kick 5 unanswered goals, which makes it 7 in a row. They are dominating this game by 28 points, although with a sinking feeling in their stomach, knowing their young tyro, Sam Darcy, has what appears to be a serious knee injury. But they're doing what they can do, which is concentrate on the footy, and their lead at the moment is close to 5 goals.
All right, halftime here at Marvel Stadium, folks. It's 8-8-56. The Bulldogs. Tell you what, they're not giving St Kilda any time with the ball. 4-4-28. I tell you what, BBB. You're right. The Bulldogs went bang, 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 bang. Tell you what, the Bulldogs putting on 5 goals, 3 in that second term. Saints 3 behinds. I tell you what, that was domination. That was class from the Bulldogs. I tell you what, since Sam Darcy went off, I tell you what, you're right. Norton certainly stepped up, and so did the Bontempelli. The whole team stepped up. And I tell you what, they are on fire. The Dogs on fire. 28-point leaders here up to half time. The Dogs looking impressive. The Saints, I tell you what, the Saints are trying as hard as they can, but the Dogs have just got that run, and wowee. I tell you what, folks, we're in for a cracking game. Let's just hope the Saints can get back into this match in the next quarter. I'd love to see a tight game. The Saints get maybe the next 3 goals, bring it back to within a kick, and then it's going to be an absolutely rip-roaring final quarter here at Marvel Stadium. Tell you what, this game is fast-paced. You would think it would have to slow down a little bit. Talk about fast-paced. Wowee. What a fantastic opening half we've had so far. Let's have a look. Let me just rejig this. Let me just rejig that. All right, let's have a look at the goal scorers before the commentators get back on to give us a little bit of their analysis on the opening half. All right, let's have a look. Who we got? The Western Bulldogs. Riley West has got 2 for them. Aaron Norton, a great second term for him. With his 6 disposals, he's kicked 2 goals, 2. As I said, Riley West has got 2. Also, the Bont. Holy moly. The Bont is having a mega half. We'll get to his disposals in a moment. Matty Kennedy and Joe Frazier has also a single goal score for the Doggies. For the Saints, it's Mitch Owens with 2. Jack Sinclair and Jack Higgins, single goal scorers there for the Saints. Have a look at the Bont. The Bont, welcome back Marcus Bontempelli. What a way to start the opening half of his first game back. 20 touches. If you want to clear 3 votes, put this in the black book. Marcus Bontempelli, round 6, Western Bulldogs versus St Kilda. 3 Brownlow votes, Marcus Bontempelli. That's the way it's going to go. 20 disposals up until half time. 10 kicks, 10 handballs, 2 marks, 2 tackles, 4 clearances, 2 goals, 1 for the Bont. Next best, Lachlan Bramble on 17. Jason Johansson, 16. Bailey Williams, 15. Tom Liberatore, 15. The top 5 Western Bulldogs players. Best for the Saints, of course. Callum Wilkie on 12 and Jack McRae on 12 also for the Saints. Wanganeen Miller, he's having a bit of a crack there. He's getting some good run down the wing. He's at 11, 8 kicks, 3 handballs for him. Let's continue down a little bit because the commentators are going to be back in just a moment. Sam Davidson there for the Doggies. He's had 10 touches, 5 and 5. Who else we got? Little Jack Sinclair there from the Saints. He's had 8, 6 and 2. All right, let's keep on going. Jack's still there for the Saints. 7 disposals, 3 kicks, 4 handballs, 3 marks, 3 tackles for him. Tim English looking pretty good out there. He's stepping up to do the ruck work with Darcy not there as well. Of course, 7 touches, 5 kicks, 2 handballs, 20 hitouts, 3 clearances. So he's having a pretty good game. Aaron Norton, as I was saying, in the second term really stepped up, kicked a little bit more accurate with his 6 disposals. He's had 5 kicks, 4 marks. He's kicked 2 goals, 2, looking very dangerous, getting on the lead. The Bulldogs players lowering their eyes and finding him well. So he is a great target down there in this game thus far. We'll come back. We'll have a little bit of a look, I think, very shortly at the team stats. Actually, while we are here, let's have a look at the ladder where these two teams sit. We have the Western Bulldogs down there in 14th. They've played 5, game number 6 coming up. 2 wins, 3 losses, sitting down there in 14th. And, of course, St Kilda sitting just outside the 8 on percentage, 5 games. They've won 3, lost 2. If the Saints can win this, they will cement a spot in the top 8. And, of course, if the Western Bulldogs win this, they will go to 12 points. And we will, let me just have a look. Let's turn the live ladder on now. So where it sits with the game right now, the Western Bulldogs will jump up into 9th position. Only 2.8% outside the top 8. So if the Bulldogs can probably put on another 30-point margin somewhere around there, then they may jump into it. All right, let's get back down to the commentators.
Control of this game, 28 points. The margin, Jonathan Brown, Nick Del Santo, the footy, the important story, the biggest story, Sam Darcy, of course. So let's touch on that, Del. You're down here on the boundary, the injury takes place, you're near the Western Bulldogs bench. What can you tell us?
Well, it was at the 24-minute mark of that first quarter, and this is the contest where it happened. So it was just a regular go at the football and launch, and it was probably this moment that particularly the people behind me and probably the crowd as a whole felt, oh, that's actually a little bit worse. Then you have that moment, Gaz, who is it? But then it was when he stood up and tried to make it his way from the ground and also saw the replay. That's when the oohs and the ahs. And then the worst fears were felt, and then we're still waiting for confirmation, Brownie, but we are fearing that it might be the worst case scenario.
Well, the family reaction was telling, wasn't it? Very emotional scenes down there. Of course, as you would be with your siblings there and, of course, your parents. So that's really concerning. One of the stars of our game, Gaz. You don't want to see it happen to anyone, but this is obviously going to get a hell of a lot of news and publicity.
No, it is, and that's the game we play. There's highs and lows, and he was just about to take the footy wheel by storm, and he will again, whatever is the outcome. So let's not preempt it, hope for the best. And there he is, a young man. We bumped into him as he went down the race here, and he's got good family around him. He's got a great family, so, and the Western Bulldogs will wrap their arms around him as well. But the game goes on, and someone has to step up, and if Sam Darcy's going to miss, Marcus Bontempelli coming back into the side is going to make it feel a little bit easier.
Yeah, it is. No doubts. He's really given him a lift, hasn't he? He didn't start in the centre bounce, Gaz. They lost the first clearance straight in there, wasn't he? He was outstanding, probably best on ground at half time. Along with Aaron Norton, who's looked really dangerous, but they've dominated the clearance, Dal. Therefore, they've dominated territory. 35 to 11, the inside 50 count.
You can only imagine him sitting back for the last 5 weeks saying, please let me get back involved. They've held up really well without him. But then you get that friendly reminder, no, he is the absolute superstar that we remembered from late last year. A couple of huge goals, over 350 metres gained. So it's not about just those handballs in time, which he does. It's also about getting forward as well, guys.
Playing his first game for the year. He's had 20 possessions in the first half. He's kicked 2 goals, and he's had 6 scoring involvements, if you don't mind.
He does look after himself, though, Gaz.
Good to have him back.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you made of Aaron Norton now, who I think accepts the responsibility of this running this forward line?
Yeah, I think so. It's not a bad thing, Gaz. He has really stepped up. His positioning today has been really good, and his footwork has been fantastic. So I've loved it. And I love when he started to feel dangerous. He put himself in the most dangerous spot. 25 metres out from goal, and he said to Cal Wilkie, I'm running the hot hand at the moment, so you've got to go with me.
Well, he can't do what he does without the midfield delivery. He's been inside 50 35 times. So he should be sitting in the rooms right now going, okay, there's going to be roughly another 30 coming. I've got to get to 15 on. That's a big second half coming up.
Well, he has got it in front of him, and I think it's a great opportunity for him to put his stamp back on this and take those opportunities. You don't have to kick 6, but he's the leader of this forward line group now. Bontempelli has spent more time there. We spoke about centre bounce clearance. It was evident early. Apart from the first 7 minutes, it has been a demolition.
Yeah, it has been a real demolition also too. We talked about Darcy, no Jamara there as well. So this is Aaron Norton's forward line now going forward, but it has been a demolition. Look at the centre bounce numbers there, guys. 10-3, and it's been an absolute smacking there. Really positive. I think Tim English has been good as well. He's knocked it forward, and they've been able to really charge forward and get proactive.
He spoke about it in that second quarter. What does Ross Lyon do from here? Or I think his hand's been forced. Something has to change. They've got the tag with Marcus Windhager on Richards.
Drop that.
I would break that. I mean, you've got to win the game from here. You've got to have your best ball winners, and particularly guys who speed to the centre square bounce. You can't give up field position.
All the work to be done for the St Kilda Football Club. There was another game earlier today. It was in Sydney. The Sydney Swans at the SCG have historically been very hard to beat, David Zeta. Not so in 2025.
And certainly not for Port Adelaide. That is 9 of the last 10 times they've faced the Swans, they have defeated them. So they got the win again today. So they were led by 34 points early in the fourth. The Swans charged back into this match, but again, they kicked 5 goals and 8 behinds in that final quarter. Accuracy cost them, and they left their run a bit too late. But there was also a bit of an ugly postscript to this match. So there was an incident with Alira during the match where he came through the goals to rush the ball. A fan then threw something at him. He didn't take kindly to that, understandably so. Ali not too pleased with what took place. So the fan was removed from the venue and was interviewed by police and SCG staff. That story obviously is going to continue to develop. The Swans have reached out to Alira afterwards via Tom Harley, I believe, and they've also reiterated a zero tolerance stance on abuse. Now, this was Ken Hinkley, the Port Adelaide coach and the coach of Alira, speaking about the incident post-match.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what happened there, so I don't really want to comment on that. But as far as I know, there was something went on, but I think Lear was okay with everything, so we'll work through it. I think Tommy Harley might have even spoke to Lear after the game. So let's respect our footballers. That's the most important thing. We've had a little bit of the stuff go on over the journey for the last few weeks, particularly, and I think let them do what they do. You come to watch them, just admire them for what they are. I would have thought, and enjoy the game. If you can't do that, please don't come.
So there was another issue with Ollie Wines. Now, this was another heart incident for him. We know he's had these incidents twice already in recent seasons, similar issues in 2022 and 2024. He did have minor surgery late last year, hoping that issue would be solved. Ken Hinkley post-match said he was pretty calm. Ollie Wines was calm. He understood what had happened, and everyone was on the same page and everything was okay. They'll obviously get some follow-up tests and speak to Ollie Wines and the like from there. Now, the Hawthorn and Geelong teams have also dropped as a short time ago. So Hawthorn has dropped Jack Ginnivan and Finn McGuinness. Connor McDonald and Jack Scrimshaw come in. Jack Ginnivan kicked 4 goals too in the VFL, so he had also had 23 disposals, so he's certainly trying to get his way back into the senior side. The Cats have dropped Ted Closey, Tom Stewart back into the side after recovering from gastro. So plenty of news going around the traps, but obviously the main story at the moment, Sam Darcy and that knee, which we'll have to wait and see what the verdict is, Gaz.
Indeed it is. Very nice work from you, David Zeta. It wasn't that long ago he was a NAB Oz kicker running around out here at half time.
Same size as the NAB Oz kicker.
He's come a long way, the young man, and they're out here tonight having a kick as well. So it's great to see perfect conditions. And late into April, she's still 25, 26 degrees here, and the boys and girls are out doing their best, having a run on the big ground. This young fella slots one through and just waves to the crowd and says, away I go. Righto, take a break here. Can you tell me about the Toyota Hilux?
The Hilux, it's all about the Hilux. There's a kicking challenge. It's get in the bucket challenge. It was, I think I won this one. Who was in it? Brett Lee was in it. Binger was in it. Me and Binger going head-to-head now. Geez, if I could knock over fast bowler, I'll go away. Anyway.
Let's have a look at it. It's the bin battle. Let's have a look.
You don't send a ute to do a Hilux job.
All right, folks, while we wait for them to come back, let's just duck over here and have a look at some of the team stats up until half-time. We would expect the Bulldogs to be a little bit in front in most of these areas, and we are pretty well right. Disposal count, it's the Dogs by 40. There we go, by 40, doing it rather well. 13 kicks plus, and of course, 27 handballs in front are the Doggies so far. Inside 50s. This is a bit of a story, isn't it? 35 inside 50s for the Dogs, 16 scoring shots. The Saints, 11. 11 inside 50s. They're about 8 scoring shots. They pretty well score when they go in, but 11 inside 50s. This is their season average, 53.6. They should be up around 27 at the moment. I'll tell you what, this is going to be all the Dogs game. If the Saints can't get it into their forward 50, I know their efficiency inside 50 is high at 81, but I tell you what, when you don't get it in there that frequently, you haven't got much chance of winning a game of football. Disposal efficiency, though, here is, I like these numbers of the Doggies, 80%. They don't get much higher than that, especially up until a half of footy. Dogs on the Saints on 71, so actually going pretty well for both sides. Dogs just exceeding in that area. Free kicks 9-8. Umpire's not really blowing their whistle. Everything is pretty good in that department. The hit-outs, the Dogs by 3. Clearances, the Dogs dominating in this area, 24-11. The Saints just can't get their hands on the ball first from these clearances. 10-3 centre clearances, absolute domination by the Doggies. Of course, stoppage clearances, Dogs doing the job there as well. 14-8 possessions contested. Both teams contesting well. As I said, she's a pretty fast, hard-fought contest this game. Uncontested though. Dogs controlling it by around about 38 there. Turnovers, it's not too bad actually for the high pressure game. This is 30-26. Marks similar. Marks inside 50, 8-6. It's actually not too bad for the Saints because they've only had 11 inside 50, 6 marks in there. So that's going quite well. Where the Doggies 35 inside 50s for 8 marks. Both teams getting their opportunity, that is for sure. Contested marks, both doing reasonably well in the air, 4-3. Tackles, Dogs just bringing the pressure. Have a look at that. 7 tackles inside 50, already up to their season average just about. Only the 1 for the Saints. The Saints just need to get it down forward a little bit more, don't they? I tell you what, it was a it was a cracking opening quarter. We had it all. Of course, we had Darcy going down injured. The hyperextension of his knee, very awkward landing there. Just doesn't look pretty to see that on the replay, especially on the slow-mo replay. Hopefully, he won't be out for too long. I'm not sure how long these injuries take to get back from the hyperextensions, but I'm thinking it could be. Well, I'd hate to guess, but I'm pretty sure he won't be playing next week. I wouldn't imagine. They looked pretty sad and somber, did the family of the Darcy clan down there in the Bulldogs room. That's right. Well, we just 11 there, Addy G. Just 11. Can you believe? For half of football, 11 inside 50s, especially when the Saints came out absolutely humming the first half of that first quarter. It looked like the Saints were on. But the Dogs, I tell you what, the Dogs just said, no, thank you. We're not having any of this. This is our game. And, of course, ever since then, where is it? Right there, the 17-minute mark of the opening quarter, it's been all the Doggies, As I said, the Saints only managed 3 behinds in that second term, whereas the Bulldogs, 5 goals, 3. Fantastic quarter. As we said, Norton... Well, he certainly lifted. He looked strong out there. He looked a fantastic target down forward. And the Bontempelli, if you don't mind umpire, get ready for the 3 Brownlow votes for this game so far. Up to 20 possessions up until half-time. Wow, he's on fire. All right, folks, we're going to be back in just a moment with the commentators because we are under 2 minutes away from the bounce of the ball to the second quarter. Tell you what, it's going to be a cracker. The teams are out there, so let's take us back to the commentators, and they will run us into the bounce of the ball for the second half in a minute and a half. But it's the Dogs by 28. Let me just get over here and just check out the poll. And the poll we've got so far, 78% have voted for the Western Bulldogs. You could be right. But don't forget, 28 points. It's not a great margin. It's just a little over 4 goals. So the Saints... as we well know, they can get back into this game and they can get back into the game quick, as we certainly saw in the opening quarter. Let's just wait and see. All right, folks, let's get back down to the ground and they'll take us into the third quarter.
Points. Some incredible numbers, which the boys have already talked about in that first half. And it's just, it's hard to see how they're going to turn it around, but at least they've had a little bit of time, but only 11 inside 50s. For 4 goals, 4, mind you, so at least when they've gone in, they've have had a chance.
So Zach Jones has joined that huddle. He's the sub, so we look to whether he's going to be inserted immediately into the fray. Nick Del Santo has a keen eye for these things, Dal.
Yeah, you're spot on, Jared. It's Liam Henry who's going to give way. It's his first game back. He's only had the one disposal in that first half. We did speak about him as being one of the possible players that could go into that midfield and make it look completely different. So, but he's been subbed out. It's tactical. Zach Jones will enter the arena.
All right, thank you, Dal. See whether that makes a difference. He's been playing regularly through the year, starting tonight as the sub, as the veteran.
So straight to the middle for him to change the mix. Bit of brute force. He was excellent that night against Geelong, wasn't he?
He was, yeah.
Set the tone early. So the bandage now on the left knee and scans to come. It's going to be the biggest story of tomorrow for sure.
The midfield makeup, Zach Jones, Wanganeen Miller in the centre bounce, so that's a definite change up. Jack McRae in there as well, so they're going to go an all-out attack. I would have thought he's St Kilda to get back into the game.
Well, you know what Zach Jones brings? He just brings energy and run, and so Liam Henry is the one that's out. And so they've just got to get field position and work harder when it does get in there forward 50. Really interesting to see the response here from St Kilda.
What Jack McRae might have imagined or visualised coming here tonight against his old team. What will the second half greet us with? It starts with the two rucks going up and down and barely getting hands to the ball, but it was effective. Marshall to Jones, straight into it. Out comes Owens, who was hot early with a couple of goals in the first half of the first quarter, but the Dogs get back to work. Dale must have been pinned back a little bit. Lob squeezes out the kick. Jones again versus Richards. Excellent mark. It took 2 or 3 goes at it.
It's not going to be able to kick long, so St Kilda have gone in with an all-out small forward line.
Little give to Stocker. High down the line to Sharman. Look at Jones with the rise. Higgins. Close to the boundary. It stays in, and Williams able to adapt. Back again. Wilkie with the first play on it. Slightly awkward bounce. Jones really feeling the footy straight away, and it's back over it.
You know, it's an interesting kick, considering what you're talking about, Brownie, in terms of going inside their forward 50. But anyway, first minute and a half, some signs. Bit of energy, one first centre bounce clearance, got the ball in their front half. Now can they lock it in till they score?
Sharman, the only tall target forward.
Marshall and English, long-time sparring partners. Sinclair stripped with the footy. Bont was desperate underneath there. Wanganeen Miller trying to open up. McRae was incisive. Garcia, Marshall set a task for Sinclair, who was up to it, but it's a wobbler going forward. It takes an awkward bounce. It's still something to deal with. Bramble, sharp hands. Sanders, Dale has the outlet kick, and Williams can set the Dogs up.
Also looks like there's been a change made from a St Kilda defensive perspective. It's Wilkie that's going to go to Aaron Norton. In the first half, it was Caminiti's. After it was Darcy.
Thank you, Dale. Williams already having a big day. His 18th disposal, safely with Sanders, and then to Dale again. A rush ball. Norton saw it coming, tried to use his feet to advantage, couldn't quite. Stocker eluded the pressure, links up with Wilkie, and now to Hill, who can glide along the marble wing with a bounce. And a much more positive move forward to Sharman. He's got a man on his own in the goal square. Jack Higgins wants it, and Wood was able to put it to him, and he's kicked his second. That's exactly the tonic the Saints needed. Jack Higgins, who never kicked a goal against the Bulldogs in 7 games before tonight, now has 2.
So, Brad, if we were in the rooms at half-time, that's exactly what Ross Lyon would have drawn up, is win the ball back in our half and then go and get it preferably in the hands of our best ball users. And then there's no question that Brad Hill sits into that category. So all of a sudden they get a bit of run and carry through the middle. Sharman is able to get a bit of separation on Liam Jones because he reads what's happening up the field, and then Higgins gets out the back. So this is the finish of it. It starts down at half back. For the first time they've been able to get their way through, and that's the game plan they love.
They put Mason Wood to the wing as well. He started there straight after half-time. He was the one that kicked it in there. Brad Hill at half-forward coming up. So they have rejigged a lot of things here. It's worked well straight away.
That goal was a long time coming for the Saints. Now to see if they can double up. Bontempelli and Richards to have something to say about it. Fraser Camp from the wing. Darts back through and opens things up well to English. Has a look deep. Norton's on the lead. Sat it on his head. Wilkie worked him underneath and took the fine intercept mark. Spreads for Wilson.
This is better. Some dare. Not that.
Just took a step or two too many as it turned out. Richards trying to round it up. Got a good little assist from O'Donnell, then got overwhelmed by Higgins. That's holding the ball, surely. Given enough time to shuffle it out. The ball.
And rather than see the ball come back over their head, they keep it in and lock it in, Brownie. So good little signs here early for St Kilda Surgeons. It's only 22 points.
Kennedy prevailed. Fraser. Sanders knows what was coming at him, and he's got the footy smarts. Back to Dale. The right boot just softens it enough, made the kick fit. And young Hines in his second game carrying a very famous Bulldogs number.
Evening to young Bradley.
Yep. Up to half forward, Marshall from behind. And then the next was Caminiti, just able to get the hands clear. Burns trying to use the rearview mirror to find a teammate. Fails, and it's back out of bounds again.
Just watching Norton now, Brownie. I'd love him to get back to the goal square because he can get it caught under the footy at times. Get the space in front of him. We saw when he hits up really well, really hard. He's hard to defend.
Like the peepers to the far side. Rachel Shads, Liberatore, head in the hole. Bontempelli forges a path for Richards, who can have a free swing if he opens things up. Sanders might finish it for him, and does. Sanders is growing into his career with high promise. And it's the immediate answer that the Dogs fans were hoping for.
Yeah, it was. Don't get the St Kilda get their tails up. So well worked there. It was credit to Richard. So he was able to get through the traffic here. So from stoppage, as we said in the first half countless times, there was an absolute demolition in this part of the ground. But just look at how many numbers they have for to the ball there. Richards has time to sort himself through. Draws the three tacklers from St Kilda, and then of course he's going to have spare teammates on the outside. Good enough to find Sanders, and Sanders good enough to finish too. He's had a pretty good year, young Sanders.
Yeah, didn't quite live up to very high expectations last year, put on by the coach.
Yeah.
Hitting the scoreboard regularly. Had 17 touches in the first half last week, and he already has 16 and a goal next to his name tonight.
5 of their 9 goals from stoppage.
It's 5-2, as you can see. Again, the ruckman go at it. No conclusive result. Well, there is in the end because all the hand up was nifty to Jones, so he's getting a bit of a footy. Getting Miller to Wood, as Brownie said, back on the wing where he's played a lot of footy in the last few years. Sharman.
Much better. Cooper Sharman's taken a contested mark against Liam Jones, and now he's hit up for an uncontested mark.
Look what they've done with the runners on the outside. Darcy Wilson's gone up from half forward to start on the other wing as well. So they're really going to try and get that outside run up and down the...
Enough time for Marshall to get deep to give them a target of some sort of size. So we're lacking.
Umpire's got faith in Cooper Sharman. He's given him the 30 seconds.
A couple of long shots.
Here's all the available time. It's long, but it's not straight.
He's around for distance. Just didn't hit it. The right spot. There's Eric Banner. Eric Banner, one of the big St Kilda supporters, alongside the president.
Yeah.
Sanders working at both ends. Takes his time to find the right target. He set it up for Richards. Caminiti reached over the top and stole the mark.
The big number they're hanging on to here is 14 inside 50s only. They kicked 5 goals.
That's no good at all. Dolan's got it. Norton gets moving. Comes through Fraser and now Bontempelli. 50. Wood went straight through. So Addison's been allowed to claim the advantage on a veering run, and he'll slam it through. How do you like that for taking advantage? And JJ's right back in the fold, much to the delight of his brethren. And that's the game-high lead at 33.
Intercept through the centre of the corridor. That's an unforced error. Every day of the week, let's just have a look at his kick. Just a miss kick going in there. They've got numbers out the other side. If that had got to Mason Wood, it would have been almost overrun to the 50-kick goal. That's a horrible error.
What about this of JJ to take the... don't worry about the 50 for the Bont. He would have gone well inside 50. I'll take it, have a bounce, and kick from outside 50.
Not sure I've seen that many times before.
Yeah, that's a brave. I wouldn't be suggesting you do that again. Caminiti smacks to someone that's listened to the half-time talk about taking risks and going inside and taking it literally. Know your limitations.
Game 198 for Jason Johannesson, it's been hard for him to get to that 200 mark, the North Smith medalist. Everything going the Dogs' way. Again, free flow out of the middle. Liberatore. Norton can't quite break the shackles clear. Bontempelli decides he can put a tackle on.
What if Marcus Bontempelli, I know he's done it before as a forward, what if he just merges into one of those sort of midfield forward types?
I mean, it's a great point. If you look to what's going to come for the rest of the year, if what we expect is that prognosis.
Yeah.
Look what Danger's doing.
Overworks and kill the defence again. It's touched.
Yeah, it's a really exciting proposition for the Dogs. If he may end up being a 45 goal kick, goals in season mid forward. She's a shocker matchup.
23 disposals, 2 goals, 6 clearances, 8 score involvements. McRae, Torre. Tough for Mason Wood. Davidson, no, he was able to pierce it and get through to English and Sanders, Liberatore. Found his left, but Garcia found it too. Inside 50s. It's extraordinary differential. 40-14.
Yeah, I was going to say before, that's the number they're holding on to because they kicked 5 goals 5 from 14 entries. They just can't get it in there.
Fantastic forward efficiency.
Exactly.
Marshall. Still a long way from home. Steele just knocked back by Wood. Everything seems to be disrupted. It is hard, heavy going for the Saints. Johannesson again. Quick kick in from Lever. Top of the square. Hines,
Yeah, really good by Hines. I just watched him. He read the play so early. He anticipated they're going to create the turnover there, the Western Bulldogs. So tells me he's a smart player. He's a natural forward as well. He's certainly played forward throughout his junior career. So as soon as he sees his kick forward, he releases. He knows Liberatore is the left footer, so he runs straight to the corridor with the flight.
19 years of age, the Dogs' top pick. The Bailey Smith pick from Bond Beach. A taste of it last week. First goal can be hard.
He's not a natural forward.
Nice build up.
It's all over. Sorry, mate.
It's 5 posters for the Dogs. Sinclair meanders into play. Webster. So there's a backup for Sinclair and Webster on the wraparound. Now, what might they create out on the wing? That is an awkward ball for Caminiti to deal with. Hines couldn't quite jar it free.
Whether you're here or at home and you're watching this, you go, what's been most impressive here? It's the Dogs' ability to hold them up or cut them off.
Jones came hard, didn't take the mark. Dale almost spun out with it. Not quite. Windhager fitted away to Garcia. Saints with promising build-up. Owens with a one-on-one. Gets rid of Buku, goes to ground as well. Williams in to offer an assist. Just disrupted Owens enough.
It was the jumper grab. The umpire was right there on hand.
Let's have a look. Yeah, good clean grapple.
Yeah, might have been. At the end of the day, like I said, the umpire's in the best position.
That's magnanimous of you, Brownie. Did you feel that way out on the ground?
No, I didn't.
Karmas brought it down to the front. Garcia trying to craft something. Sanders ended up with it. Johannesson lends a hand. Clears the area initially. Owens with the mind to send it straight back in. Wood will be able to do that. Tosses it up. Dogs were pretty well placed. It wouldn't have been paid, as you heard. Fed out. Richards stood in the tackle. Williams, Bramble, just take the territory. See if Norton can come up with it. Caminiti worked him underneath legally, apparently. He was in the best position that up, so I guess he knew.
He must have. Windhager, another disrupted play. Nothing easy for the Saints. Windhager, more luck with the second kick inside. Sharm in the hands. Hall to Owens. Garcia. Again, the wrong side. Nothing going that man's way.
They're threatening that. Been better this quarter, Gaz, so at least they've been able to get some more territory.
Yeah, so they're just the sheer weight of numbers. So everything you look at, if you go, well, they've only had 7 ground balls in their forward 50, but haven't been in there. So it's got to keep pounding it back in.
Time and forward half, so 60% St Kilda, They're winning contested possessions. They've been better around the contest.
And it hasn't, like, it's 33 points, which seems a lot when you've only kicked 5 goals. So just got to keep chipping away here. But the Dogs seem to have most of the answers.
Liberatore saw the option. Sanders drifted forward, links it up with Richards. He's got Jones as the runner out of fullback. Now what's Jones got in mind? Norton's his man. Davidson probably got in his way. West and Stocker sees it through. A few bodies strewn everywhere in the aftermath of it.
Sure, if Jonathan Brown had appreciated Davidson coming back and taking his man back in your leading lane like that.
A bit of feedback.
A little bit of fresh feedback.
Saelmaker's big kick out to the wing. Wood from the side. Williams back to the inside. A lot of footy going through Sanders at the moment. Saints were prepared for it that time.
Important tackle there though by Windager. Held up, so well under the Western Bulldogs. Been hard to hold up St Kilda. That kick in, forced a long, slow kick in.
Jots out to Williams and then back into the maze. Knocked away Liberatore. Could have been taken high. There's Williams tumbling over to the Sheriff.
Sanders had 8 touches, hello, and a goal for the quarter. Leading possession winner on the ground.
Liver right up there as well in the game. Wood, territory taker. Jones, the top of the back. Collard sends Higgins on his way. What was that kick? Wilson! He goes baseline. And Jack Higgins will have Darcy to thank if...
Can we just check if the ball crossed the behind line?
The goalkeeper is right.
Talk about hard work.
Last call is a goal. Please check to see where the ball crosses the behind line in the build-up.
Is there a gap between the ball and the back of the line here?
Dare I say the umpire's in the best spot.
All the ball over all of the line.
Is there a pixel?
Could be from the back of the padded post. Is there a little gap between the ball and the back of the padded post?
Zoom in.
Davidson would want to hope so because he misses his tackle.
Review complete. Looking at this angle, we can see the ball has crossed the back of the behind line. Decision on scoreboards.
Doesn't feel quite like it's St Kilda's night at the moment.
The fans would appreciate, and I know this is not patronising them, they'd appreciate the fact that they're digging in a bit here.
I like the runners on the wing, Gaz. Like Wilson out the far wing. Wood has been influential this quarter on the other wing.
Dale's bringing it into the middle. Tamanini repels. Big possibilities. Out past to Wilson. Can he get what he just left out there? It's to that same behind line and through. 32-point deficit.
It's a bit of repeat footy though, isn't it?
First time, got a bit of pressure on the Dogs.
And on that kick as well, it got to Kennedy and to Sanders again. He's everywhere. Back through centre half, back into Jones. Everyone wants a part of it. Frazier suddenly it's the Bulldogs at half forward. McNeil with the goals. And his sights or maybe Norton.
That's when Aaron Norton's best. When he sees the ball, and that's why when you're talking about forward line and why he's, he can get in a bit of a hole, you go, well, you've got to make the space for yourself by working over your defender, making him turn around, run back towards goal, leave this leading lane open. It's at the other end of the ground. That got denied. So if you're coaching him, you're saying make space for yourself to come at the ball like that.
Carrying the extra responsibility, not just for tonight, but maybe for the season ahead. He's kicked his third. Hard to take if you're a Saints after the opportunities they have just missed. But the Bulldogs stranglehold gets a little tighter. It's a game high 38 points now.
It's hard to take this from a kick out. So Bailey Dale's had a big quarter. He's the leading possession winner for the Bulldogs this quarter. Ross Lyons spoke about him pre-game. It's the one that they really need to watch. Got pretty good in the first half. Got off the chain this quarter. That's what coaches will hate. That end-to-end transition does. And then Norton he's played a good game. Probably his best game of the season. He had a good start in round 1 against North Melbourne. Tonight it's been outstanding. He's moved really well. Good finish.
And I guess also when you have someone like Sam Darcy who's been in the form he's in, they demand the footy. They draw the ball. So if Darcy's there, he doesn't get a look at that probably. So Yeah, he's having a pretty good night. Second goal from a kick in.
3 goals, 2 extends his good form against St Kilda. Grapple in the middle, Fraser. Kennedy, Steele got the key touch to avert it initially. Sanders is central to everything. He had an arm draped over the shoulder. Got the free kick. Sanders to Bontempelli, who's hot. Got it away. Cleary to reset the Dogs. Norton's coming out.
He did it again then, made space for himself. He was really making space for the Bontempelli kick, but Bontempelli got tackled. That's why he's so far out from goal.
They've opened the square up for Davidson to have a leap, or potentially West.
That was a set kick. That was a set kick, he called it, Jared. They opened it up for him and they dropped it. He dropped it in the bucket for Riley West. There's no doubts that's been worked on. That wasn't just luck.
Riley West is lining up for his 3rd goal. For all that St Kilda have thrown at this 3rd term, it's about to be even further away from them at 44 points. West with 3, cashing in tonight. The Dogs have a stranglehold on it, heading toward time on of the 3rd term.
Yeah, they've stuffed out the hopes of St Kilda, haven't they? So, have a look at this. As Jared was calling there, they just seem to empty the area. It's a set kick. We know Norton has it out there. Look at them. They all lead. I love that. Just lead away, create the vacuum behind, and then Riley West, the smallest player in that forward 50, takes a relatively uncontested mark. Great teamwork.
Super impressive. They've only been inside 50. They were challenged, ever so briefly, not massively, but 9 inside 50s for 4 goals too in this 3rd quarter. So this has been a really impressive performance. Don't forget that it was 4 goals to 1 down in the opening 7 or 8 minutes of this game. And since that time, they've kicked 11 goals to 1.
So 3 for West. Last week, a career high 24 disposals. Hitting form as the season starts to take shape. Bontempelli. Kennedy, Bramble, Davidson, running hard, kicking, long, a stumble from McNeil and well judged by Stocker. Quick switch. Hager made the juggler.
Just look how hard they're working off the footy here, the Bulldogs. Just pushing really hard, cover the exits as best they can.
Wilkie took what was on offer. It was only relatively short. Sinclair hasn't been a prominent figure tonight.
I wonder whether he can be redeployed either through the middle or, I was going to say forward, because they haven't been able to get it there.
Well, maybe he's high half forward, not long as Brad Hill.
Should make it. Goes for distance. His major attribute. Owens. Put in the crush. McRae. You see what he's trying to do. That's a free to the Dogs. Seemed to be quite a bit of uncertainty about it all, but it's Rory Lobb's footy.
And a glance at the switch. And it is now, at least the first link in the chain. Cleary and Jones and Williams on the way out. So using the width of the ground well. Williams found Fraser with a tracer bullet. Fraser's had a glance to the outer side, but he's going to stay more direct. Bontempelli with English camped wide. And uses him now. So the ruckman either back to the Bont or wind it up. Liberatore's rushed from the bench. Had a few choices, decides to kick it. And see if they can mark it. Richards. It's just all too easy now for the Dogs.
It's a good build-up too. Build-up trying to contest the mark, guys. And again, almost that set play where they're just able to bob on the top of one of the teammates' head.
Too easy though. Jared calls this. Look at this. Just pushes off Winaga, who's had the job on Ed Richards all night, and he's been far from their worst. But when that happens to your best competitor, it's just got a bit of a sense about it.
He has joined the elite bracket of midfielders, Ed Richards, just to hit the scoreboard more often like that. Out to 50.
So you wonder what happens, and this is the interesting part of a team dynamic. You've got individuals within it that will stick to the task and stick to the task and stick to the task. And Windhager's one of those players, you know that. He's got the big job, but then it overwhelms you, and you just, for a second, you feel like it's a little bit hopeless. This is a slow play from the Bont, so everyone gets a chance to get back and number up and square off, and Tim English gets it. Bont sort of slides in and hopes he's going to get to him again. But just look inside forward 50 here, and the push-off that ends up in the mark is just, that's when you know you're kind of defeated, particularly when it's Windhager, who's just usually a competitive sort of animal. That's just way too easy.
I like the position though. I feel like they're on the same page with the kickers. They're going to have to be creative, the Bulldogs forward line now. If no one ends up being the only one, whether it be Calmus or O'Donnell, obviously with Darcy and Jamari Eagle-Hagen absence.
Marshall hammers it forward. Owens comes out. He's able to cradle the mark, 45 out from goal.
14-6 out of the middle, Hutto. They haven't seen that too often tonight for the Saints.
And hard going. It's hard to know who to feel more sorry for the Saints, isn't it? The back line have been overworked, or the forwards that just haven't seen it. All the forwards can do, and they get their opportunity, is to take them. Mitch Owens did that early. They need to take something out of this game. Win tonight, they would have been in the 8. Instead, it's the Bulldogs who are eyeing off that possibility. But Mitch Owens puts it through, his 3rd goal of the night. And he has been a lone beacon up forward, along with Jack Higgins, who has 2.
Yeah, he has. He's competed well. Like you said, it's a rarity to send clearance apart from early in the game. So what can the forwards do? They can make the most of opportunities. One other thing they can do, Hutto, they can walk into the centre bounce and give those midfielders a spray, which I'm sure Gary was quite fond of back in the day.
It's so much speaking from experience there by the sounds of it, but you're right. It has been not uncompetitive, but it's just been bashed up. 14-6, 32-17 overall.
That's been the query on St Kilda though, previous season.
Yeah, that's right, yep.
The midfield has been the area they need to improve on. Now, they started the season off well, but it's been a problem, so disappointing for Ross tonight.
He's been on that phone an awful lot, trying to come up with solutions after being thoroughly outgunned. The Victorians standing in the tackle. What'd you tell me last week, Gaz? The forwards are cranky with the mids are cranky with the forwards, and the backs are cranky with everyone.
Yeah, that's the way it works. Good sides are demanding. Hasn't been that way. Jack McRae's had most clearances for the Saints, so we're in trouble without him.
Decent skirmish settled with a high contact free kick to Steele, who, well, just managed to get it out. Sinclair got it from Windhager, put it in front of McRae, just watched it come over his shoulder, couldn't quite grab it.
And against his old side, he's had 6 clearances. Next best is Rowan Marshall with 4. The leading clearance player on the ground is Matt Kennedy's got 7.
Not a hint of a boo from his former fans, held in such regard, a premiership player across 12 years, achieved so much with the Bulldogs before becoming largely superfluous to Leeds. Windhager inside 50 only momentarily. The Dogs will shuffle it around. Cleary is going to kick it back to Williams, who finds Norton on the long lead. No, he carried him and found English. Off to Liberatore, and they're on here, the Dogs. Calmus has got out the back of Caminiti. He's got 2 targets deep if he wants. Hasn't kicked a goal since the start of last year, Buku. Around the perimeter, Richards. Richards fires it in for them to have a leap at. Off hands, nobody there. And a fifth rush behind for the Dogs. They're up by 45.
Heart and mouth stuff for Dogs fans there with Aaron Norton.
No. You're thinking about subbing him out.
There's no one left to come on, Brownie, unless you're prepared to volunteer.
His importance this year now.
Wilkie got it on the way out, but he's got to get ready to defend again. Hines to Dale, almost close enough. Almost. Williams leaps, but so too Wanganeen Miller.
It's funny watching. It's not funny. Well, it is a bit watching Brookie Calmus run around in that forward line. He just ran into Aaron Norton. Then I'm not sure he knew where he's heading. This can be a wild card, but when you're trying to, let's give him a benefit of the doubt and say he was trying to block for him.
Still got him ahead around Brownie suggesting sub out.
So Buku played as a forward in 2022 in a brief stint. That's where most of his 7 career goals came from. Dogs disrupt the play again on the way out. Can't get access to it.
Look at this.
Though Lob has a go this time to keep it clear of Garcia. They fight at the source. Steele Up to McRae, links it up to Higgins. No one inside the 50, so a hand pass misses Hill, and thus it breaks down. Hines sold a puck to Jones. Hines goes back and gets it though and makes amends. Johannesson shot it around. Williams out the back. Now O'Donnell with a chance to make some sense of it. He finds Dale. The field is pretty well open up ahead. Sanders short. Back to Dale, you fancy. Didn't quite find him. So not the fluent play, but easily out of the tackle and a bit too soft around Collard. And up for Kennedy to have a fly out. Kicked a beauty early.
He's been a great servant in the short term. 5 games. 5 games of service, Hunter.
I like it.
I could find 25 goals out of him. Gaz playing partly.
Shot it around to Dale. Now probably back to Kennedy. Umpire's not going to give either of them a shot. So they'll make sense of it by putting it inside 50, and Sanders can get another look.
He's an emerging story, isn't he? So he was taken in the first round, high draft pick, really well regarded coming out of the under-18 system, and now just seems to have picked up the tempo of AFL footy.
Well, Bevo declared him the best equipped first-year player to walk into the Whitten Oval before last year, which was unlike a senior coach to do that.
Him and Humphreys, wasn't there, for Gold Coast? Humphreys got compared to Dustin Martin by his coach, so both coaches learned their lesson. They backed off this off-season.
Sanders has had 4 straight weeks of 20-plus and a goal. He already has his goal tonight. He's looking to double up. It's across the face. Norton had a fly. What have they all decided here?
He's really clever there, Jared, is that high half forward. You know, and obviously he's going to work into the midfield, but I really like his...
Chris confirmed the ball across the behind line.
It's an interesting moment if it didn't, isn't it?
It did. You complete. Looking at this angle, we can see the ball has crossed the back of the behind line. Decision on scoreboard.
It's a 47-point margin.
Probably guessed the umpire wasn't in the best position that time round. He called for a review.
That's right. You can see it from here.
So minute 15 left in this third quarter. Still the hesitation for Sinclair. West. Anticipation was outstanding. Sanders tried to get the go-ahead. Wilkie wouldn't let him through, and Nick Sanders a little frustrated as he eventually returns the footy. And now to the hands of Hill, who's darting left and darting right. West latches on, won't let him go. Won the ball, puts it up against the line and brings it into Norton. Stellar stuff from West.
Just having a look at his game whilst that unfolded. He's only had 6 touches, Riley West, but by hell he's worked hard. And he's hit the scoreboard 3 times, and on cue, he does exactly what he's here to do, and that is put forward pressure on and turn the footy over like that. And his ball use is great. He's been super.
So Norton is already giving us a mixed bag in front of the sticks.
A big haul tonight.
Yeah.
Consider the first quarter, was it? Or,
yeah. 3-2-1 out of bounds, and the mark that he dropped right in front.
Yeah.
So it's been there for him. Oh, the Saints just trying to get their way out, and they will. Sinclair links it up with Jones. On to Wilson. Good turn of foot. Garcia through the middle. Just eyes up a bit slow, so Owens, the siren beats the play. All rather cruel for St Kilda tonight. They are 47 points the wrong side of it.
They are three-quarter time. The domination continues. 13-13, 91 to 6-8-44. Playing for pride and percentage when we return.
If you love sport.
All right, folks. It is three-quarter time. The margin is starting to blow out here now. 47 points. The Bulldogs are leading by. This margin is getting out. As I said, the Bulldogs putting on 5 goals, 5 in that third term. The Saints could only manage 2 goals, 4. The Saints need to, retrieve a little bit of pride in the final quarter. We thought this was going to, pardon me, we thought the Saints were going to come back a little bit, but this didn't happen at all. Just the opposite. The Dogs stretched the margin out. Need a huge last quarter. Tell you what, yeah, I don't know. 47 points. I think that could be even. Nearly impossible. 47 points. I'm not sure what the biggest winning margin comeback has been from 3/4 down, but it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. I know they did say last night. Now I just can't quite remember off the tip of my tongue. But anyway, as we say, we just want St Kilda to fight back, make it a little bit interesting. Let's hope the Saints can get the first 4 or 5. You just never know. But the Dogs are just looking like they are just all class out there tonight on the park. They're just doing everything right. Let's just have a look at the goal scorers quickly. If you're keeping up to date with all that, Riley West for the Doggies have got 3, with Aaron Norton putting on an extra 1 for 3 in that third term. Marcus Bontempelli still got the 2. Sanders, Richards, Kennedy, Johannesson, Frazier, single goal scorers there for the Doggies. The Saints, Mitchie Owens still got the 3 goals there. Jack Higgins, 2 goals now. Jack Sinclair is the other single goal scorer. Let's see what the Bond's done. Well, the Bond put on 6 disposals in that third term. He's up to 26, 11 kicks, 15 handballs, 6 clearances, 2 goals. 1 is the Bond, so he's doing his job. As I said, what a great comeback for the Bond. The top 6 now is, of course, for the Doggies. Riley Sanders on 25, Bailey Williams 23, Libba on 23, Bailey Dale 22, Lachlan Bramble 21. The best for the Saints, Callum Wilkie on 19, Marcus Winghager on 18. All right, let's just roll down a little bit. We'll probably get to the team stats, I would imagine, at the full-time siren. We'll just run back down through here. Hugo Garcia up to 13 for the Saints. Matty Candy for the Doggies on 16, 7 kicks, 9 handballs. He's kicked a nice sausage roll there. I think I tell you what, it makes you hungry when you're talking about the sausage rolls. Ting English it was a little bit quieter in that third term, but instead still 11 touches, 25 hit-outs for him. Aaron Norton just added a goal there in the third term. There are your stats for your players. And we're going to take you back down to the ground now. Let me just roll that back up. We're going to take you back down to the ground now. And they will take us into the bounce of the ball for the final quarter. I know the time's ticking over there. It hasn't reset. Glad Sanders is getting time this year. I tell you what, when some get injured, it's great to see others coming in to get their chance. And sometimes when they come in, they grab it with both hands and run. All right, let's get back down to the commentators. They're just doing that a little bit, and then they'll take us into the final quarter, whereas the Bulldogs by 47.
Defensive side and work their way through. Marcus has had 26 disposals. This is one of his. He's been enormous, but he knows without looking that he's going to have Dogs' goal side, and then they're able to work that ball back through the middle of the ground. They have done this throughout the course, but not a centre square bounce, but has flowed throughout the whole field. They have dominated, and Marcus has been at the forefront of that.
The Sam Darcy story as it stands tonight. So the indicative testing, the clinical testing that the doctors conducted, I feel like we lived through this in real time with the family reactions. It does suggest that he has done the ACL. Scanning tomorrow, and there's always a chance of the miracle when the scanning is done, but the Bulldogs will leave here tonight fearing the worst for Sam Darcy and his knee.
It is all the things that have happened. It's probably the story that's going to dominate most, isn't it? There is a big, long career ahead of that young man, and as you say, Jared, there's the tiniest of hope still there. We'll cling to that until definitively no, but it doesn't look good tonight for Sam. It looks good for his footy club, though. We came in tonight, with these two clubs, we're thinking that, maybe one, not both, if you're looking, to finals footy, and they put a fair wedge between the two. Now, I know they've got some players out. The Western Bulldogs have got plenty of players out. The players that St Kilda got out, they can at least afford at the moment. Max King being one of those. Their forward line's just bereft of a target down there at the moment. They kicked their 4th goal inside the first 10 minutes or so of that first quarter. They kicked 2 goals since.
Yeah, they've been impressive, haven't they? Bulldogs since then, no doubt about it. It's been a stoppage demolition, then they've dominated territory. So even without that man, Aaron Norton really stepped up to the plate. He's been fair. Good character there, by the way, too. Like he's probably feeling the worst in his own mind. He still goes out there to see his teammates. I don't know if you see that.
Brownie, like he was showered and back on the bench really quickly, which I think we suspect we know what sort of lad he is.
He's pretty tough. He's a leader.
Yeah, so early in the game, it's hard to process for everyone, isn't it, with the game still going on?
Well, it's been the story of the season so far, really, before tonight. Just what can he become? What is he already?
And there's a bit of symbolism, isn't it? This man comes back in at a time when we're contemplating what's life going to be like with Bontempelli and Darcy at the same side at their peak. Maybe not to be, but the Bulldogs have been impressive tonight.
They've kicked 12 of the past 14 goals to lead by 47 points entering the final term. Richards up to Bontempelli. He gives the forwards a look. Lob switch down there. Norton flies the pack. Round ball. Jones fed it out. Webster could smother from Richards. Swangening Miller finds a way for Webster and Marshall. He is serving and spreading out to Wood. Sweeps the hand past to Hill. Saints have got a mood to move it forward. Higgins roves the pack loose and missed the sharp hand pass coming his way. Karmas trapped over the footy. I'm not sure he ever really had it.
So Higgins on Liam Jones long down the line gives you an idea of personnel-wise where the Saints are at. That's just why they haven't been able to bomb down the line, and the Dogs haven't allowed them.
Kennedy at the source for all the high contact from Jones. So interesting, lob's gone forward, so there's a little bit of test and
I think so.
Karmas was never a threat, was he?
No, but it's a great idea, and I wish coaches would do more of it, is take the opportunity to have a look at it in game.
It's an interesting dilemma, isn't it, for him? Because Lobb seemed to play forward a lot, but he's become an accomplished defender.
I suspect it's just to get his mind around the fact that, hey, there may be sometime in the future where you're going to have to go and play key forward again.
Kick is going in his direction. Lobb reaches up and brought it to ground. Stolen fitted up to him. Lobb and Sanders just needed something going by. English represents that. Got his kick away. Davidson's got the one-on-one. He's well set. Great spoil. Terrific stuff from Windhager. And Stocker's job to clear the area for Webster.
I think the other point is if Liam Jones is playing on Jack Higgins, there's no matchup for Rory Long.
Down the line to Owens. Clock counting up, if you're wondering too. Just a little technical hitch. Wood plays it back. There's a little technical hitch in the handball to Owens. So Webster has extra mopping up to do. The boundary will help him with that. And it's over and out.
You've got O'Donnell to throw forward as well. Guys, so they've got options because they've got height at both ends. They are flexible. The position they have been able to play over their journey. And we know Jones started as a forward at the Bulldogs.
They've gone from having too many forwards to suddenly not enough though, haven't they? In terms of size. Liberatore knew not to take full possession. Richards back to Sanders again. What a night he's having. Waxing with Liver. Not the best of handballs, but Dale tidies it up beautifully through Karmas. Johannesson for Davidson. He's been running hard forward all night. He's craving a mark in the forward 50. He's back in his spot on the wing at the moment. There's the Bont. Playing the waiting game just inside the arc as the Bulldogs do the same. He's going to take the kick inside. No better than Bailey Dale, really, but he doesn't want the responsibility. Bramble. Not quite at the ideal launching zone. There's plenty of height down there for now. English leads into the pocket, which means Lobb and Aaron Norton, a host of Saints defenders. English again to Sanders, to Richards. He was perfectly positioned for a left foot snap, and that post 6 struck again.
That's a record, Jared. Everyone here.
That's 9, Brent.
You make that up.
Saints build out of half back.
Like the goal reviewer, Brad. If you say it quickly and confidently, that's what believes.
Hill is committed to long down the line with nothing on offer, and that hasn't worked as Jones gets rid of Higgins.
So that's just falling apart when you know that that's not the way you want to play, but you've got no other choice and you just kick it straight to Liam Jones on Jack Higgins. You know that everything's just crumbled.
Bramble on the retreating kick finds Karmas.
Bevo would be very happy though with his team defence, just to being able to restrict. I know St Kilda's, especially the smaller forward line, they're going to try and move it quick and plenty of uncontested marks and flip the ball on. They just haven't allowed St Kilda to flow the ball much at all.
To the next contest, across the front came Stocker.
I really saw in the first 5 to 8 minutes of the game when St Kilda were able to score, and I really feel like, apart from the stoppages, the Bulldogs' application of team defence was very strong.
Well, they had so much pace on the footy in that first 6 or 7 minutes, you thought, gee, it's exciting, but it's going to be hard to maintain. And the response from the Dogs has been so professional and just closed them down.
Steele, Jones and Hill from the stoppage. Hill's just looking to break Liberatore. What a tackle! He's been brilliant, Liberatore, so far this season. Stood in valiantly as captain, and that's what it means to him.
Stand up, Dogs fans. If you had a straight line race between these two, who are you backing? Well, he just willed himself onto the map of Brad Hill.
It's the country club runner who just caught Gout but still.
Stuff for the Dogs. Norton crashed the pack. Jones with the spillage. Magdalene Miller down to Shannon. Forced it away. All the way to the boundary line.
You'd love to get the head on of this chase. Just watch the face. Yeah, look at them. There's no consideration that he's given that up, despite the fact that there are 47 points up well into the last quarter. That's one of the highlights of the year there.
Unbelievable. Slightly cut the angle in, and Leather was so desperate.
He's been so good in the absence of Marcus Bontempelli. He might go and just become even greater.
Back to the wing to Sinclair. Couldn't do much with it. Dolan can to Fraser. A little bit Hollywood, but he's got a free kick for in the back. It's going to Dolan instead. Still finding his feet, but be enjoying the night.
It's a big second half, Bailey Dale.
Right across half-back he goes to Jones. Again, they fan out and then back through the middle, coveting the corridor. Johannesson running wanted it back from Karmas.
They don't look to be in any rush, do they? In this stats machine's got a glitch in it. The uncontested marks in this last quarter are crazy. They'll just take what St Kilda give them.
So Libber again, another high ball. English probably spoiled Fraser if anything. Hands from Hall, excellent, constructive. Stocker now, Wanganeen Miller. Couple of bounces, thinks about a third. He's going to do it on his own if he's not careful. The kick didn't quite match the run. The degree of difficulty just too high. Well, the footy had a mind of its own. There's a whistle.
Cleary.
Keep going away of the Dogs. That little tire on the kick, so Davidson has to go back to Cleary. Oh, they are dicing with danger there.
English a bit the worse for wear after the real charge of the pack where he took Fraser out. Dale's knocking up, getting it. Dolan brings it in for Kennedy. Now Norton's rushed back inside the 50, needs one link kick. English will be that. Ball made by Webster. Saints have got numbers at the drop. McRae and Hill. Kicks rather than runs this time. Steele. Wanted Hill to go by. And fed that. Kicks for Higgins. Didn't quite hang on to the mark. And tackled by Bramble. Dangerous tackle.
It's been a tough night for Jack Higgins. Goal early, one early in the third quarter, but opportunities have been few and far between, and well, it's just unnecessary. Yeah, dangerous it is, but it's unnecessary.
It's one of those ones where, because they were in the field of play, it lingered for a long time. Higgins gives it a look for his third, and he too has found the post. Oh no, it snuck in, I beg your pardon. Higgins with his third.
It's a hell of a goal. The gun thing was well and truly over, but that's an interesting one too. Tim English will get down to keep an eye on that, because you saw that one, Jared. I think I'm just captured by this goal.
Sorry, he's on a marking contest at half-back about 24 minutes ago. English, then he floated forward before. This dangerous tackle that was paid. Definitely a dangerous tackle, the free kicks there.
The finish is...
we don't see a lot of this anymore.
No, but the goal is left foot from nearly where the 50, inside the 50. That's a hell of a kick. Left foot in. Unbelievable. So 3 goals for Jack's been, as I said, it's been a bit of a lean night because by virtue of the fact that it's only been inside 50 22 times for the game.
The clock is fixed. Bontempelli. Norton, after Wilkie spilt the mark. Hines. Liberatore did the hard stuff so well. Now he can celebrate a goal. The Bont might be back, but there's no one more popular at the moment than Tom Liberatore amongst the Bulldogs faithful.
They've been good from clearance. Third goal from centre bounce. Liberatore, he's been outstanding. He's had a great year, as Jared said before, but 23 disposals, 3 clearances, 5 tackles. Now he's hit the scoreboard, so just that great finish. They've just been able to get territory at night, the inside 50 count, 50 to 22. That's the biggest shellacking you'll see, guys, and they've been able to hit the scoreboard.
It could well be more than that too, given the glitches we've got. So it's that chase down tackle Liberatore, not my favourite thing of the year. And then footy karma comes around for you, and you get to celebrate if you do the hard work.
The game pays you back. And the chant for Libba goes up. Richard stands in the jam.
And Jared, we saw Tim English come from the ground. He did jump back to his feet just for a moment when the football was in his area, but once it left, he took himself from the oval. Looks a combination of fatigued and sore as he has a rest on the bench.
Locke got it out the front. Winhager rounded it up. Shares it with Webster. Missed McRae. So Davidson for company. Tried to shuffle it to Liberatore. Webster. Liberatore disrupted that as well. Saints are going to get overwhelmed, are they? The pressure's pretty fierce. West wanted it more than anyone else, but gave it up to Stocker. Once mark, JJ.
A little bit of symbolism when Davidson pushed McRae off the footy and emerged. Not that McRae's been poor, by the way. I think he's been one of their best at Kilda for the year, in actual fact. But his absence, his departure opens up the door for Davidson, and they look like they found one there.
Cleary gives them a look up at the 50. Norton came steaming out. He's got it. He's shaping it to the goal front. They all set themselves. Wilkie got highest to concede yet another behind. 7 of those.
It's the English incident.
Just put the whack across the stomach. His teammates' leg.
Bulldogs got 8 players, 20 disposals or more. The Saints, none. Cameron Evie. Off to Sinclair. And Hall's marked it okay, but unfortunately he was over the line. So he can't miss his footy. We'll be watching Norton in the square, waiting to see where the footy's going to be deposited. Norton's going to run at the ball. He got disrupted in flight. Fraser didn't. Left foot kick. A little runner. How good are the Dogs? Fraser, one of their emerging breed, kicks another. And they lead by 48 points, plus more.
Well, the Dogs can be good, Hutto. They're building a deep midfield. This man Fraser can come on with the absence marks. Bontempelli, Bont back tonight. We've spoken a lot about Liberatore, Richards. Kennedy's been a fantastic pick-up. The emergence of Riley Sanders. We saw last week in the first half when they belted a full Brisbane Lions midfield. That shows you they're going to be very competitive all throughout. Now, we know the Sam Darcy injury. We know Ugelhagen, obviously his absence as well. They've had some challenges with their injuries. But when you've got a deep midfield like this, guys, you're going to be in a lot of games.
And you add number 4 to it.
Yeah, absolutely. He's been outstanding, hasn't he? Yeah.
55-point margin. Going to score with pen and pencil at the moment. Fraser's kicked a couple. Liberatore held up in the middle. So the Dogs have got road trips ahead. Canberra, Ballarat and Darwin, their next 3.
Big one in Canberra next week against the Giants.
Free kick made Owen's way. He used it to Wanganeen Miller. No mark taken. Dale a chance to round it up. Don't want to get caught over it. Released it sufficiently. Higgins has a fresh look. Worked it around. As Garcia's kick was smothered. Worked by West.
That defended well, Brandon.
Ended up.
Tyler's rise a great indicator, aren't they?
Yeah. I've given up a 3 here, but the really impressive thing is the sort of not being reflective of the scoreboard at any stage. They've ignored it. And the closing down's been magnificent.
Garcia with ball in hand. Take a decent old kick. He winds it up as best he can. Got good purchase. Not quite enough. Jones kept it in the field of play. Now the wisdom of that. Dale's got a problem. Got it away to Liberatore. Clears the area initially and Lobb hangs on. The Dogs are in flow here. Kick goes out in front of McNeil and it's perfectly down his throat. The deep targets aren't there just yet. So hold it up for Williams. And Williams lags the kick up for Richards. And Sanders, there was just enough communication or cross passage.
So Ed Richards had Marcus Windhager for company most of the night, which has been a new experience for him, but he's still been able to contribute.
The appreciation of the faithful for Liberatore. Tags out, the bot comes in. Not a bad metaphor for this moment in the season. Ed Richards lining up for goal number 2. Owen hard and not quite enough. Owens sees it through for a rush behind. 56 points.
Thumbs up from Liver. Anthony Miller. Nicely waiting for Hill. As going past, takes it. Early bounce. Circled by Dogs, which means there was no margin for error. He's wanted it back on relay, but Jones just couldn't get it to him.
That's an example of what we were talking about. How irrespective of the scoreline, the ability to close them down and stop them and come back the other way has been a feature of the Dogs all night.
Both sides of the ball, with and without. Floated forward by Bontempelli to one of his new running mates. Look how he's matured in the absence of the bot. Sanders.
Room there. There's a bit of space.
Having a career night. His 29th disposal to the top of the square. Lob, Webster. Oh, a gift! And Aaron Norton has missed that one as well. What a smorgasbord.
Mr. Riley said it's been good to be live here to watch him. He's clever. He's very clever. He just knows where the ball's going. He reads the ball really well. It's not going to be the first time he gets up towards 30 disposals in his career.
3-3 and 1 out of bounds for Norton. Kick in's a straight turnover to Williams. He's searching for Bontempelli. Just the hand in there from Williams to keep it out of it, from Wilson to keep it out of his grasp. The Saints look to build. Jones found a way through. Wanganeen, Miller bouncing run again. Wanted it back from McRae, who had a devil of a time holding onto it. McRae kicks to the 2-on-2 inside 50. The forwards weren't particularly well set initially. Collard worked it over the top. Garcia into a dead end. Collard on the follow-up. Skies it. Williams watches it. Safely to the boundary.
Just having a crack the Bulldogs defensively. Pushing back up there, Sam Darcy on screen. Terrible news in the first half.
Yeah, so much has gone right for them tonight, but it's all in the shadows, really, of what happened so early in the game for young Sam Darcy. Dale with the confidence to go off the ground. Collapse on Hines. Again, they work it by hand so cleverly. Just a little look behind. David's been searching for this goal tonight, and he has to pass it. He just has to, and that's the way they do it anyway at the Bulldogs. McNeil crosses the line. Puts it through. Well, they are putting on some sort of show tonight, from one end of Marvel to the other.
There's the Marvel gift.
Yeah.
Too often, though, it isn't that fast when you're even late in the fourth quarter, guys. Give McNeil. Once he got a sniff.
They've been able to move the footy against this Kilda side with ease. Like some of these numbers from defensive to the defensive 50, forward 50 and through the roof. So That's a disappointment from a security point of view, but really encouraging for the Western Bulldogs. Once they're out, they're out. And right now they're playing pretty aggressively, the Saints. They're trying to take a risk and get forward and get something happening, but those numbers are a big concern.
10 individual goal kickers, 15 goals to 3 for the middle stages of that opening turn. Fraser is on duty in the middle. Came striding out, steers the pass. West again.
17-6 out of the middle in favour of the Dogs.
West goes quickly. He was trying to feed Law, but it wasn't to be. Lukey fills the hole. Used Webster on the way out. Magazine Miller. It's a good duel with Adam Sard on the field bounces. There was one ahead. Sard had a few, but Magazine Miller has had more. He extended the lead. He's almost turned that over to Bontempelli. He and Sinclair go to work. Wilson hacked it to centre field. So English is onto it. O'Donnell. Dogs need the outlets, and Williams is that. Dolan presents. Sanders is on over the top. Dolan's going to go a little bit deeper than that, though, and try to give Lom a clear jump against plenty. Not sure make that season away.
63 inside 50s to 28. I've seen a discrepancy like that too often, Brownie. Time in forward half there, 16
in quarters, but not for whole games, have we?
No.
Back at Marshall and English again. English wants a piece of it. Have it up. Webster smothered from McNeil. Still doing the hard stuff. And the glory follows. Kennedy strikes.
What a great pick up his bone. He's had 8 clearances again tonight. What an outstanding contributor. He's kicked goals as well. Playing as that half forward coming up, playing in the midfield at times. It's one of the goals of the year.
He's kicked 2 absolute beauties.
Just come from the overstoppage there, just stayed with it. Stayed with it, opportunist, goal. Oh, beautiful.
Great day for Dogs fans to be at an Easter Sunday. If you're not at the ground, you're at home, you're allowed to stay up late. If you're a young Dogs supporter, seen a 69-point demolition. Just open another couple of eggs.
Another smother, guys.
Another smother.
The old school, the old smothers column. It's a great sign.
They have dominated every column. 20 disposals for Kennedy. 9 clearances and 2 goals. It's a good night's work. Marshall taps it out. Bontempelli worked it forward. Oh, got skittled by Sinclair. And held up at half forward. They both get up, each other a pat.
A few held the breath then, Jared.
Have a look at this. No contact with the head was well done by Sinclair. Bonds right back on the job. Davidson tosses it up. They're desperate to get Lob into this. Williams out the back. And through goes another. And she blows. Right into the corporate suite. Bottles everywhere.
14 times inside 50, that kid.
I know that Dogs fan.
Used to be down in the press conference taking on a big boat house.
Mark Stevens.
Well, he'll be enjoying it as much as anyone. There's been just a demolition in this last quarter. Drop it. It goes for a high five anyway. 14 inside 50s, 5 goals forward in the last quarter, so they finish how they started, just running riot.
I think for the guard now.
75 points. It's probably the biggest win of the round, the way it's going.
Not quite what you're expecting. Played in the final 2.
Looking through the beer goggles, you think?
Strix. English. They're coming again. So get ready. Anything's possible. They're trying to get the footy to Rory Lorp so we can remember what it's like to come at the footy and take a mark in attack. Quite pan out. Sinclair bashes it back. English, bit of marking practice, can't bring it down. Sharman finds himself at least 2 kicks from goal. Makes do with a handball on the fly. This is Wilson. And he skids one home for the Saints.
Nice finish. That's what Secura fans Saints can look forward to it for the next 10 years. He's a class act, this bloke, and there's a terrific pickup. He's just got they need something to come with him. And it'll be interesting to see how Ross Lyon reacts to this, because it's been one of the more one-sided games that we've seen for a while. After that first 6 or 7 minutes, let's not forget it was 4 goals to 1 in favour of St Kilda. They were 17 points up, and from that point on, I can't count. There's too many goals, but it's been an absolute monstering in every single way.
Well, they had that really poor round 1 performance on the road against Adelaide, didn't they? But they were able to recover so quickly, and he's been pretty defensive of his team, what they've achieved so far this year, but it'll take some explaining.
17 goals to 3.
Richards straight through the front, gives the Dogs a great look. Lob, desperate to scrounge back, kept it aloft, straight to Wilkie, into Norton, as degenerates.
Didn't go further than centre bounces though. So centre bounce clearance, you can't get smashed around the footy like that. You lose territory, then your team's on the back foot. It's when you can't go long down the line, you don't have a lot of tall targets.
6 hit this last quarter round here. Add that into the mix for centre bounce.
It is reminiscent of what Carlton did to North around the ball.
Yeah, it is.
North are a long way back, so it's chastening for St Kilda.
Review complete. Looking at this angle, we can see the ball does not cross the back of the scoring line. Decision on scoreboards.
We'll take Fremantle and Carlton the next 3 opponents for the Saints.
Take Rowan Marshall out from a centre bounce clearance point of view. He's had 4. They've had 2 centre bounce clearances for the rest of the team. 1 to Jack McRae and 1 to Jack Sinclair.
That is amazing.
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
Dogs have it deep forward, throw in after all of that. Vish hoping for Richards. Wilkie kept it out of his clutches. Jones around to Shoemaker, and that's just hoping to clear the area. O'Donnell came with great purpose. Now, how to find the way back in, Hutto, because there's a lot of congestion in there.
Crowd are in on this with Rory Lobb, but not going to be here. At least not yet. Williams scrapes out a kick. Collard for the Saints. Buys a little bit of time. Dale, back through Jones to Johannesson. They'll try their luck on the dock side. Just cruising a couple of bounces. Rerouting back out to where it all started on the City wing instead. Massing up the numbers out there. Dale. Just under 4 minutes of fun left for Bulldogs fans. Williams challenged by Owens, who did well. Fought the fight, lone-handed there. Trying to make it, and then down the line from Wood. They piece this together still. Collard, he's got the legs. A bounce, and then Sharman in his sights. Oh, did he get enough of it? No. Johannesson turned at just the right moment, in just the right way to Fraser. And again, there is spacing all over Marvel Stadium. They're going to go slow or fast, or somewhere in between. Karmas thought about striding out. He's got Dolan over the top, but looks like it's going to be the long way home for now. And to O'Donnell.
Get your numbers up this time, Hutto.
Yeah.
It's the time of the game.
33 uncontested marks in the last quarter. 34 uncontested marks in the last quarter.
Simon watching on. Norton stretching.
He'd be a pretty proud dad too. His son's making a really good fist of it to Simon O'Donnell, the former St Kilda, I wouldn't say great cricketer.
Well, Ross actually mentioned it. Pity he couldn't be a father-son at St Kilda.
No, that is
James.
true, but he
Quite qualified.
International Cricketer of the Year, of course. And his son's making a really good fist of AFL footy.
Dogs from the source, west into open space. Dolan just got knocked off it at the last. Wilson brings it away. Comes the way it Burns. Who got it to him? Shoemaker. Puts the Saints inside 50. Owens set himself for a jump. Got the spoil when he got up there. He's after the ground ball. He ran straight into Cleary, fashioned some sort of kick. Windhager to the double up run of Jones. Can't quite work the link up. Fraser, hot potato around to Kennedy. Clear the area. Shoemaker just off balance as he brought it to ground. Caminiti's kick. Windhagen tried everything, but the Dogs are built around it. Fraser away to Sanders, on to Dolan. There's nobody deep for the moment, so shallow with the kick. Davidson now Lobster's going to come back up with the ball here, and he will. Fraser threaded it to him. Everyone was in on it. Just got to get him back in a goal kicking form.
Yeah. Especially after seeing Darcy exiting the game early. This man might be required down forward. It will be interesting what they do going forward with him, because he's made such a take. I love that.
Just spoke out for people watching and might not be watching too often. That's the Royal Children's Hospital appeal symbol.
Fantastic.
Did a great job on Friday.
The Dogs have given so that Lobb might grow as a forward, not to be.
The line was magnificent. The setup was perfect.
He's got to the middle of the year, he said, to keep the creations coming. He's getting married at the end of it, so I'm told he has to have normal hair by then. Out to the wing. Strangled there, came back to Wood. Fraser has his way again to O'Donnell, storming forward off the left boot, and this juggler is Sanders, who's so prominent in the third quarter. Norton and Lobb are in the square. Lobb's coming, but he's going wider to Bramble. Davidson was the most obvious, and he takes them up.
This bloke's a real pickup. I think he's an absolute beauty. He's got all the attributes of modern football. He's got an engine, obviously, and he wants to use it. The capacity, a modern-day player of that ilk has to be able to get up and back, and he's demonstrated that. He just covers the ground magnificently. He's got real competitive streak in him, and I think they've just really found one here.
It's been extraordinary how well he has fitted in to AFL football. He's been searching for this goal all night.
The man up.
Come on.
Come on.
Can't do that to a youngster.
And that will see us out. The Dogs get the chockies on Easter Sunday. It'll have a bit of aftertaste to it though. For the moment, they can celebrate a belting of the Saints to the tune of 71 points.
It will be, they should be really proud of what they've been able to do, but it will have a sad edge to it. But Marcus Bontempelli has returned to the fold and was absolutely magnificent. The rest of the group have responded well. They just, if you can't close a team down in modern footy, you're in trouble, it looks like, because the ball movement game is so important and the kicking game is so important, so you need to be able to close it down. So there's Sam Darcy. How good is that to see a young man who's here, he's in doubt in jeopardy, still be able to raise a smile and get out on the ground with his group. The security boys are getting around him as well. So that's the storyline, and the other storyline is it's a 71-point smashing of the Saints. They've got some work to do.
Great pass, weren't they? They were grades apart.
Yeah, they were. It really was. Apart from the first 5 minutes of the game, when they got into 17 points, St Kilda. Then from that time, the Bulldogs midfielders especially just took over the game. Bontempelli back in was influential, of course. Liberatore is outstanding. Richards eventually got over the tag. Fraser, he's a fantastic pick up there. Riley Sanders had his best game in the Western Bulldogs colours, so they overwhelmed them in the midfield, dominated with the territory, and they hit the scoreboard. I love their pressure, led by that man. Like, his effort. He's just he's one of the great tries we've seen now going with Liberatore.
He saw a great run down. He's retelling a story. Brad Hill saying, no, he didn't realise you had that in you.
And we'll tour this act in years to come. They will tell this story.
Yeah, they will. They can book out stadiums. I just can't believe Sam Darcy's. I just think that's a bit of a sign of the character of the young man who's out there shaking hands with every St Kilda player. He's walking out in the middle of the ground.
He's numb, I reckon, right now.
Yep. Let's go down to Nick Dalsano with the man who could have had he still had a big night. He could have had a real big night now.
You're spot on, Gaz. No, it's outside of that first 5 to 10 minutes where the Saints put on 3 or 4 goals. It was all about you and the Dogs. Must have been an enjoyable night of footy.
Yeah, I mean, obviously don't want to start the game like that, but credit to our second quarter and then not letting up for the rest of the game. And I thought our mids were outstanding, getting territory, and then us forward clocking it in there.
I saw Darcy go down, unfortunately. We have our fingers crossed. We are fearing the worst towards the back end of that first quarter. Did you get a chance to speak to him at either quarter time or half time and get some understanding about how bad it is?
No, I actually don't know at the moment. We'll check on him post game, but a bit unfortunate. You know, he's but he's killing it at the start of the year, and he's very dangerous forward. So fingers crossed.
You did go down. It looked like your role changed. Did you position yourself differently, or was there a coaching instruction about ultimately get you really in this game? It was fantastic.
Not really. I think, having one less target down there, I sort of just had to compete at a bit more contest. Just try to work my ass off tonight and get to as much footy as I could, and obviously got some reward tonight.
Congratulations, fantastic performance. We're going to get ready for the ceremony. Well done.
All right, thank you.
Had that up at the right time, I think, Hunter.
Thank you, Dale. Barker Whitten Challenge Plate being presented in honour, of course, of two of the great names from the respective clubs.
Indeed, the great DJ Whitten. Let's have a listen to the presentation.
Supporting children and families that are living with cancer. I'm pleased to once again welcome Ted Whitten Jr. on behalf of Rule and the Whitten family on field for tonight's formalities. To accept the Barker Whitten Challenge plate from Ted Whitten Jr., I'd like to call forward Captain Marcus Bontempelli on behalf of the winning team, the Western Bulldogs.
Thank you very much. Obviously to the Saints lads, great contest. All throughout, really made us work for it. Great acknowledgement for Trevor Barker and the DJI Mini Foundations and everyone who supports those two great causes. It's always nice to play the games that have extra meaning. We're very proud to be tonight's winner. All the best. Thanks a lot for everyone who turned out. Go Dogs. Cheers.
What a return, 30 disposals from the captain.
Probably better than Bont made the speech than Aaron.
I guess part of this whole discussion, the other factor is Luke Beveridge and his future being out of contract. So it's a big year for decisions to be made for the footy club.
Remains one of the best handled coaching situations I've seen for a long time. They're both coaching club are really comfortable, and the results tonight would suggest that it's having a really positive impact on the way they're going about it.
So playing good footy too, hasn't he, Gates? 3-3. The record's very good. He's probably going better than that. They just faded out last week against the Lions, but they've been solid all year.
Absolutely. There's no question that Luke Beveridge can coach, and there's no question that this team's got enough talent to compete. Let's go down to Nicky Dell, who's got the man of the moment.
Well, Marcus, best on ground. Congratulations. 30-odd disposals. You've been sitting in the grandstand or watching on TV for the last 5 weeks. You must have just been itching to get out there and to do what you did tonight.
Yeah, keen as. It was really probably challenging 5 weeks in the sense of watching and not being able to be out there, but I think it probably really showed up opportunities for other guys. Joel Freesia and Riley Sanders, both those guys have improved enormously and continue to sort of play well throughout the early parts of the season. So tough for me, but I think great opportunity for others.
How tough was it when Sam Darcy went down?
It was. You got to sort of put it out of your mind as much as you feel for the guy. I'm not sure what the result is, but you do have to still win the game of football. So I think we'll pretty quickly able to sort of move on, adapt, and work out, who else could be an influence down there. As you look at it, we scored, a number of goals, number of points. We still were generating scores, and that's how you got to be. You got to be able to adapt. So we did it pretty well.
You dominated stoppages, even though you did start at centre half back, which was a little bit unusual. What was that down to? Was that structure or just execution?
Execution, definitely. We try to give it a different look every now and again. You saw we probably did it earlier and then didn't do it for a bit after that. So it's always probably about trying to keep the opposition on guard. Now, it probably didn't work for us straight away. They got on top early and we had to work our way back into the game. And it really just came back to contest pressure and then work rate. So you've got to set your game around those things.
Gaz said in commentary, maybe his favourite piece of play for the year was liver chasing Bradley Hill. You were right near it. What'd you make of it? It was a great race.
I can believe it. He normally can't move off a dime, Tom. So super impressive. That's him, heart and soul. Never give up the chase, and that probably sums him up. So the crowd loved it. I loved it. And he's 30-odd, but he can still run. So he might have maybe a 2-year deal now instead of a 1.
You can be his manager the way you're going. I just spoke to Aaron Norton. We loved his game, and clearly Sam Darcy goes down, which is not the way the old team want to get into the game with one going down. The other one was Sanders. We've been really impressed with his year. What are you seeing from him?
Yeah, just work rate. His tank's something that he's really worked on, and obviously covering the ground incredibly well, playing some inside stuff, a lot of outside stuff, finishing ability as well. And you love players who can do that. So he's just really adapted to different roles, and that's why he's having the influence he is now.
How'd you feel today, just physically? You sit out, and we spoke to Ross Lyon before the game. He said he wasn't quite sure the amount of work that you'd done. Everyone knows you're very diligent, but then was the conversation between how much forward time did you play and how much midfield? Lungs, legs, how are you feeling?
Early I was probably blowing. I reckon I felt better in the second half, to be fair. Just once I got used to the high intensity stuff that you just can't match in your loading while you're away. But I sort of was able to pick and choose almost. If I was cooked, I'd do a bit forward. If I was feeling good, I'd be up around the ball. So there's a bit of flexibility, which is probably normal for me anyway. But I feel pretty confident that I've come through and got some good miles in the legs.
You had a good long weekend. You've also opened a cafe this weekend, Arthur's.
Yeah, it's been nice. A couple of days over the Easter weekend, and we'll start normal trading from Tuesday, but been awesome. I guess the 5-week half gave me an opportunity to really dive into that and get it ready. So it's been a fun program so far, and I've loved it.
You're a professional. How many eggs?
A bunch, all right? I won't put a number on it. I think you prefer to leave some room, I guess, so we'll get after it tonight.
1 egg for every disposal, that equals 30. Well done, mate. Good job.
I'll take that. Thanks, mate.
Good job.
Family affair down there. Nick Del Santo with Marcus Bontempelli.
Nepotism?
Nepo. They're in the 8, the Western Bulldogs, courtesy of the huge jump in percentage. So like the Saints, they're 3-3, obviously. Geelong and Hawthorn still to play tomorrow, and the Suns, who had their first loss last night, have played one less game, as have the Bombers. But what could the Bulldogs achieve this year if they don't have Sam Darcy?
I'm sure they'd go all the way. On a performance like that, if Darcy was there, what if? But that's a challenging month of football. No doubt about the Suns up in is that Darwin or Springs, but they're very difficult to beat up there in challenging conditions, of course. Can't wait for the game next Saturday night, Hutto, which I think you're calling in Canberra against the Giants. They're rival. They're arch rival from a long way back, the 2016 preliminary final, of course. They've had much of a history throughout. I just love the way he's got them playing. You've got them play. They're really committed to the team. Defensively, they've been outstanding. They work really hard. They've got a broad midfield now with Bontempelli coming back in. They're really dangerous coming into the game and coming into the season with their key forwards, weren't they? Now, Eagle Hagen's not there. Who knows whether he'll come back, and unfortunately looks like we lost Darcy for the season as well tonight, so a lot of fall on Norton's shoulders, but they can certainly challenge a lot of good teams and certainly make the finals, that's for sure.
They're really honest, Hutto, which is what, as a supporter, what you enjoy the most, is that they got probably outclassed in the end by the Brisbane Lions last week, but they're pretty honest right now, and that's it's not sexy to them, but they just keep turning up. They've got some players to come back in, and they've got some of the big stars still there, so they're going to be hard to beat.
All right, first crack, not too far away. Dogs fans can enjoy this moment bittersweet as the victory is. They've got home by 71
Sons of the West, woo! Red, white and blue, woo! We'll come out styling. Bulldogs through and through, we sing. Bulldogs fight and Bulldogs rock. We hear the very best. With the trumpet, the voice of the Bulldog tree, the team of the mighty West. Woo!
Yes, hello and welcome.
All right, folks, there we go. That is game, set, match. It was the Bulldogs by 71 points. They just kept extending their lead. 5 goals, 6 in that final term to the Western Bulldogs. St Kilda could only manage 2 straight goals. Holy moly. Guacamole, the Bulldogs, 18-19, 127, defeating the Saints, 8-56. Tell you what a display of football by the Dogs. I think that's the best I've seen the Dogs play for some time, folks. For some time, that was just incredible. Outside of the first 10 minutes of the opening quarter, the Dogs dominated and just drew away with every tick of the clock that went on by. They were just fantastic. And, of course, the Bont was fantastic as well. Whew, we'll have a look at the ladder in a minute, but I heard a rumour that the Dogs are now in the top 8, sitting 8th on the ladder. We will have a look at that. Just have a look at the fantasy points if you play the game. Riley Sanders topped the table with 130. The Bont with 119. Bailey Dale 112. Bailey Williams 110. The rest under that. The goal scorers for the game. Well, we only got to the 3 goals was the highest for any scorer today, and that was Riley West there for the Doggies on 3. Aaron Norton ended up with 3. Matty Kennedy, Joe Frazier with 2, as was Marcus Bontempelli. Singles, Bailey Williams, Riley Sanderson, Richards, McNeil, Liberatore, Joe Hannison. That was the Dogs. The Saints, Mitchy Owens with 3. Best for them with Jack Higgins also with 3. Wilson Sinclair with the other single goal scorers for there. Let's go to the top of the table on the disposal count. And, of course, we've got 2 players. 3 players touched the 30 disposal count today. And those players were Riley Sanderson, all Bulldogs, Bailey Dale, both with 32. Fantastic effort by both of those. Marcus Bontempelli, though, 30 possessions. I tell you what, that is some type of comeback he's made. 30 possessions, 14 kicks, 6 handballs, 5 marks, 4 tackles, 8 clearances, 2 goals, 1. Bont, 3 votes for me, 3 votes for you. Let's give Marcus Bontempelli the 3 Brownlow votes. Bailey Williams, 29 there for the Doggies. I tell you what, here is another guy I keep saying about him, Tom Liberatore. My gosh, is this the best season he's had, Bulldog fans? Is this the best season Tom Liberatore's had? I'm going to get out in the limb and go, I think it's by far, absolutely, that's his best season so far. Nash Wanganeen Miller tops the table for St Kilda with 25. He was their best disposal getter on the ground. Of course, Callum Wilkie, 22, was next best for the Saints. I'm just going to roll down this. You can check out your players. It's best in a while since the grand final in 20. Absolutely, they were just brilliant. Brilliant. As I was saying, Triple B, you take away that first 10 minutes of the first quarter, well, they were pretty good, but the Saints had a rocket under them in the first 10 minutes. That's right. If you remember, I think they led by 17 points at one stage, and then it was just the Dogs. They were on the express train, the Dogs. Holy moly, there we go. Look at this. 60 disposals over their season average. The Dogs 424 to 343. Wow, there's about 80 disposals of difference. That's 70 odd kicks in favour of the Dogs and just the 13 handballs. Inside 50s, have a look at this though. 69 inside 50s. That is mammoth. 69 inside 50s. Normally it's 53 average. 69. What do they end up with? 37 scoring shots. Wow, so that's pretty much once every 2 times they go inside 50, they scored 16 scoring shots. Same for the Saints, 16 scoring shots, 8 goals, 8. But they only went inside 31 times. 53 is their average. Remember, at half-time, they only went in there 11 times, so at least they went in a little bit more. I think the Dogs went in 34 times in the second half, and the Saints only the 20 times in the second half. Disposal efficiency, I mean, this 81.8, that's nearly unheard of for after the game. For the final 4 quarters, 81, that's extraordinarily high there from the Dogs. So they were just outstanding in that aspect today. 19-13, the free kicks. All free kicks there, nothing much really changed the game or anything like that. The hit-outs, the Dogs by 4. Clearances, Dogs absolutely smashed the Saints, 44-23. Centre clearances, 20-6. Saints just couldn't get their hands on the ball out of the centre. 20-6. Wow, wow. Hey, just imagine, folks, 20 times you get the clearance out of the centre. It's going to put you in good stead, isn't it? Just the 6. Stoppage clearances, +7 there also to the doggies. Contested possession was reasonably even there. And, of course, uncontested. Well, the Dogs just had the control, didn't they? +83. Turnovers all square at 57 apiece. Well, the marking, uncontested, of course, the Dogs are going to have more marks in that area. That was about, 46 plus to the Dogs. Marks inside 50, 21. I don't think I've ever seen a team have 21 marks inside 50 out of all the games I've been watching. That is, you know what, I would be interested in see what the record is for marks inside 50. It's got to be close, 9 to the Saints. Contested marks, well, there's surprisingly, Saints are a little bit stronger in the air, 10-7, and the tackle count, well, both teams tried to put on a good bit of pressure. Both tackles reasonably good, 55-52. Tackles inside 50, 14-6. Dogs did it well. Let me just have a look if I can update this. If this is updated now, the live ladder. And there is the live ladder for the folks out there, for all you Bulldogs supporters. You have jumped up a few spots today. You are now officially in the 8. And, of course, with Geelong and Hawthorn to play, still tomorrow you are going to remain in the 8 after round 6. Played 6 games, win 3, lost 3. Of course, that percentage, you picked up a swagger percentage. I'm thinking that was around 17%. I can't 100% remember the percentage of that. I thought it was somewhere around 93, but they picked up a swagger percentage on this game today. You are into 8th. There we go. You push Fremantle down to 9th. And, of course, for the other team that they played, St Kilda, it was definitely a bad loss to them today. Played 6, they're 3-3. They're only out of the 8 by percentage, but now it's as good as a game. Well, they need a big boost, another 90.5%. And the Dogs up to 110. That is like a clear game of percentage they need to make up. That's 20%. Yep, they need to actually have one more win on the board to jump into the 8. Their percentage is that low there at the moment, but that's where they sit. Carlton drops down to, St Kilda dropped down to 12th, and of course the Bulldogs leapfrog a few teams into the top 8 after round 6. That was just fantastic. It was the low 90s, so huge boost. Yeah, I think it was about 93%. So to pick up 17%, wowee, you can do it. I mean, that was a bit like Collingwood. After Collingwood's first game, I'm just going on percentages. Collingwood, a GWS was, I think, 104, Collingwood 52. There's a score, and Collingwood's percentage was up around, I'm sure it was around 50 or 60% after the first game. So you just need to get that back on track, get your wins going again, and keep winning. Look, the Saints, it's, you know, I was going to say, you can't take much away from you can't be too disappointed. Look, the Saints did try, didn't they? The Saints did try in this game, and they were really good in some parts of the game. But the Dogs were just exceptional today. The Dogs were just exceptional, and I think most of this turned around when Darcy actually went off the ground injured. It just seemed to open them up a little bit more, give them more targets, etc., like that, instead of just going direct to Darcy. I think that actually opened up the Bulldogs. And from that point forward, they just took off. They just went out of space in a twinkling, the Bulldogs. So it's going to be interesting. Saints show promise and fail every year. I have no high hopes of them. Yeah, I don't know whether they just lack a couple of those quality, I don't know, those experienced quality players. And it's possible that they might lack. It's hard to tell. You know, because they look really good the opening 10 minutes. All right, the games next week these two teams have got, of course, the Bulldogs. This is going to be another crackerjack game. The Bulldogs travel up to Canberra to Manical Oval. They're going to play the GWS Giants. That's going to be a ring-a-ding-ding game. That's 4th versus 8th. The Giants taking on the Western Bulldogs. That's next Saturday evening, 7:35 p.m. Melbourne time. And of course, who else have we got? St Kilda. St Kilda's next opposition. Well, here's one the Saints is a chance to win. I hate to say this, but they could be a chance against the Brisbane Lions. Well, the Brisbane Lions have got to travel again. They didn't just travel to look. Brisbane Lions have been on the road a bit. They have to travel to Adelaide, and then they have to travel back down to Melbourne. Although then they have to travel back home, and then next week, next Saturday, 1:20 p.m. game there at Marvel Stadium in Melbourne. They've got to travel back to Melbourne again, so they're doing a lot of travel. And St Kilda will play Marvel Stadium like they did today, and they actually don't play it too badly. But we'll just have to wait and see. That's going to be a fascinating game. That's going to be a very fascinating game. Can Brisbane regroup after their defeat this round? And of course, St Kilda will be looking to reassure themselves that they are still in the hunt somewhere in this season. Tell you what, it's going to be, it's got some fantastic games coming up next week. Tell you what, I think every game is going to be an absolute ripper next week. I know we've still got Easter Monday game, of course, Hawthorn taking on Geelong at the MCG. That's going to be a ripper game in itself. But let me just pull forward to next week's games, folks. You're still out there listening. Next Thursday, we've got a very interesting match, of course, 17th play 15th, but it's going to be very interesting. The out of form Melbourne, who finally won a game, is coming up against the spark of the competition. It well could be in the Richmond Tigers, the youngsters. They got the eye of the tiger happening there. That's coming up next Thursday evening, 7:30 p.m. That's from the MCG. 17th playing 15th. I tell you what, it's going to be a cracking game. Of course, my tip in that game will be Richmond. Melbourne going in there at 126 favourite. I've got no idea how that's possible. 385 Richmond. I'll take that any day of the week. Of course, coming up Friday, we've got the Premiership's favourites, I think. Well, they should be. They're playing. It's Anzac Day next Friday. And, of course, you've got the big game of the season, the home and away, outside of Dreamtime. And, of course, that's Anzac Day game. Collingwood taking on Essendon, 3:20 p.m. at the MCG next Friday. Collingwood going into that game, 122 favourite. Essendon, 435. I think Collingwood first v 11th. Don't worry about the odds. Don't worry about where these two teams sit on the ladder. These are always good games of football. So that should be great next Friday. And, of course, the other Anzac Day game, we've got Fremantle taking on the Adelaide Crows over there at Optus Stadium in Perth. That's going to be another absolute ring-a-ding-ding game. I think this is a game where Freo, they just can't keep on losing. This is one they need to win. There's no question about it. They need to win this game. That being said, the Adelaide Crows, they are in scintillating form. I think the Crows win this, and I think they win that quite comfortably. Next Saturday, of course, you've got St Kilda taking on Brisbane. That's going to be a fascinating game at Marvel Stadium. 1:20 p.m. there. You know what? I don't know who to pick, but I think Brisbane's just got that senior experienced team, and I think they might be able to pull the wool over St Kilda again. And St Kilda will be, not a happy team again. Of course, following that, Port Adelaide taking on North Melbourne over there at Adelaide Oval. Interesting match. Port Adelaide, they're going pretty good, so you'd have to tip them. 10th versus 16th. And, of course, next Saturday evening, as I said, up there in Canberra, the Giants taking on the Bulldogs. That is another great game. A great rivalry between these two teams that have been set up. I tell you what, you can't go past the Dogs, even though they're travelling away. And, of course, next Sunday, I think the Gold Coast Suns up there at People First Stadium will 3rd versus 14th. They're playing the Sydney Swans. I think this should be a nice victory for the Gold Coast Suns. They play exceptional footy up there in their home ground. And, of course, Sunday afternoon, 3:20 p.m, MCG, Carlton taking on the Geelong Cats, another fantastic game. That is going to be a cracker. That's going to be worth tuning into. And, of course, the last game of next week's round 7 to wrap it up is Hawthorn 6th playing Eagles 18th. I think there should be a walk in the park for the Hawks. I think this is going to be a percentage booster. exactly what they need. So that is next week's games, folks, in a nutshell. But it should be an absolute cracker. But don't forget, tomorrow, 3:20 p.m., we got the big game. We have the big game tomorrow, folks. Don't forget that. And we're going to see everyone there, hopefully. And, of course, if you're not watching it on TV, come and listen to it. Geelong taking on Hawthorn. I tell you what, they've been great rivals for many years now, and always, just like the Anzac Day Collingwood Essendon game, the Geelong Hawthorn game is always a ripper, and a lot of games just decided within a kick. So it should be a great game. And of course, Ginneman, the one who likes to chop his chops, took his chops off to the others, the opposition and the fans and that. I believe he's been dropped for that game. So there we go. That's what happens when you mouth off a little bit too much and you don't perform. You get dropped, which is good to see. There we go. All right, folks. Thanks, everyone, for coming in. Thanks, Triple B and everybody else. And by the way, the good folk in the live chat, of course, 83% went for the Western Bulldogs today. You got that right. We got that right again. But I tell you what, I'm really looking forward to tomorrow's game where the Hawks take on Geelong at the MCG. It's going to be a ripper. But every year we start horrible. So 1 or 2 losses this far in isn't too bad. You know what? It depends. Yeah, I suppose that's right. It depends who you lose to. But, the thing is you lost to a good side. So although sometimes it's okay to lose to a good side, lose to one of the lower sides in that case, because you're going to, when you're going to play the other good side, and you start to feel like they've got the wood over you, then you start to maybe doubt yourself. But I think they're seasoned and professional enough; they just take it game by game. But yeah, I think a loss is good for every team. Every team's got to have a loss, or else they can just get above themselves a little bit too much and take every game for granted, thinking they can just step out and win. Whereas definitely not the case. D's, Pies, Crows, Premiers, Power, Giants, Swans, Cats, Hawks. There's the top 8. D's, Melbourne. What? I don't know about that. Melbourne? You mean Melbourne? I don't know. He was dropped and got the 20. You got the, yeah, that's right. That's right. He played that in the VFL, got the 24 and 2 goals in the VFL. That's right. That's right. Your tips, these. Your tips for next week. There we go. All good stuff. Yeah, they were my tips. I think it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how it all unfolds. But it should be good. I tell you what, it's going to be a great week of footy next week, and it's going to be a great game tomorrow. All right, folks, that's it. That's all I've got. There we go. I'll just write thanks all in the live chat there. And, of course, hopefully we'll get to see everyone tomorrow. Tune in, listen to the big game, because I tell you what, it's going to be a cracker. It's a game that I just definitely do not want to miss. I'll be just glued to the screen watching this game. It's going to be fantastic. Let's see, Triple B. Let's see if the end result can be within a goal. I tell you what, it'll be pretty close if we're going to predict that, because that's the way it normally goes between these two sides. All right, folks, that's all I got for this one. Thanks all for coming in. Well done, everyone, picking the winners. And we'll hopefully catch up with you and everyone tomorrow. So 3 points. I tell you what, it could be. And Cameron, you know what? Cameron could probably put through the winning goal after the siren. There we go. There's a result. All right, folks, that's it. I'm out. Ciao for now. We'll see you tomorrow at the next game.